The shock on Hua Xianxian's face has settled into a cold, silent film. The strange reaction in Song Biao's eyes is a boundary already crossed. A line has been severed, and the quiet terror is in what happens next. Don't look away. Chapter 226. Chapter 226. You lost. Hua Xianxian was utterly shocked. The observation platform was already in an uproar. What a mistake. He actually knows palm techniques too? I understand why senior brother Hua hides his palm techniques, because the sect master is best at palm techniques. It makes no sense for his top disciple to only practice swordsmanship. But what's with Jiang Fan? He also masters palm techniques? Yan Yuking's face was red with excitement. Her martial uncle could hold his own against Hua Xianxian with just swordsmanship, which already surprised her. But what shocked her even more? He actually had hidden moves. The Supreme Sect Master and the Elders couldn't sit still anymore, especially the Supreme Sect Master. He had thought that his top disciple would win for sure, but what was the outcome? They fought to a draw. What shocked him most was that this kid had hidden palm techniques too, just like Hua Xianxian. Have we found out yet? Who exactly is this person? The Supreme Sect Master suddenly got nervous. Could it be that his prized disciple might lose? The Elders replied, "We're still investigating. We will have results soon." It's unbelievable. Where did this kid come from? We haven't heard of any such talented young disciple in the Ninth Sect. Sect Master, don't worry. Even though this person masters palm techniques, he is still no match for your disciple. After all, Xianxian's palm techniques were meticulously taught by you. Hearing this, the Supreme Sect Master felt slightly reassured. He was very confident in Hua Xianxian's palm techniques. But he didn't know how this dual cultivator, a genius in both body and magic arts, fought. At this moment. On the stage, Hua Xianxian's feelings were complex. He had thought Jiang Fan only knew body techniques. But Jiang Fan showed his cultivation. He had thought his swordsmanship would win. But Jiang Fan demonstrated swordsmanship better than his own. He had thought he had the upper hand with his palm techniques. But Jiang Fan also showed palm techniques. A deep sense of suffocation overwhelmed him. He knew he had truly met a worthy rival. This Jiang Fan was not the rumored talentless waste without spirit root. On the contrary, he was terrifyingly strong. If he didn't get serious, he might actually lose. Thinking of this, he focused as never before and said, "Let me experience the power of your palm techniques." One leaf fall. His palm movements were graceful, like a drifting leaf, unpredictable. When it approached Jiang Fan, it turned into numerous illusions, making it impossible to distinguish between real and fake palms. Earth-level advanced palm technique. Jiang Fan's eyes narrowed, gathering his breath and countered with a palm. Shocking dragon? As a profound high-level technique from the void ancient tree, even though it was a high-level technique, its power was among the best of its level. When both palms met, they bellowed like dragons. As if two flood dragons roared, a large number of illusory handprints shattered, revealing the real hands. Boom! The two collided head-on, creating a muffled blast. Both retreated 2 steps from the impact. Hua Xianxian was greatly surprised. Jiang Fan's palm techniques turned out to be superior and more refined than his own. He panicked a bit. His proudest palm technique couldn't prevail against him. 7 stars to the moon. He executed the second move. Jiang Fan was not to be outdone. Dragon control, an even fiercer palm strike countered. This time they were still evenly matched. Hua Xianxian was stunned. He had used his full strength, yet he couldn't overcome Jiang Fan. He was the second strongest elite of the Supreme Sect, the Sect Master's first disciple, the face of the Supreme Sect. How could he lose to Jiang Fan? Grinding his teeth, he decided to use spiritual power. Even though Jiang Fan had palm techniques that matched his, cultivation was his fatal flaw. So he jumped up, launching a palm combat. The Sect Master, Elders, and disciples, who understood Hua Xianxian's intent, all fell silent. The dignified first disciple of the Sect Master had to rely on spiritual power to win. Some didn't know whether to say Jiang Fan was too strong, or the Supreme Sect was not as great as it seemed. The Supreme Sect Master felt a bit embarrassed. His proudest disciple had to bully a junior at the 7th layer of foundation establishment with spiritual power to win. Even if he won, it wouldn't bring him joy. The Elder of Green Bamboo Peak consoled, "Don't mind too much, Sect Master. As long as we win, the face of our Supreme Sect is preserved. As for the process, winning is what matters, the rest doesn't." All the elders felt that winning this way was dishonorable. They all offered excuses for Hua Xianxian. This person is dual cultivation in body and magic, and his swordsmanship and palm techniques are both above Xianxia. Winning alone is impressive enough, regardless of the means. Cultivation is the most important part of strength. There's no shame in using spiritual power. At that moment on the stage, everyone believed that in the end, Xianxia would win. In fact, Jiang Fan's spiritual power was indeed rapidly depleting. After 200 moves, he was showing signs of fatigue. Xianxia's eyes sharpened, seizing the opportunity. He struck with a palm and shouted, "You're bound to lose." Jiang Fan knew his palm technique couldn't block this move. Helplessly, he retracted his palm and said, "All right, I'll switch to another technique then." As Xianxia's palm came down, Jiang Fan gathered his remaining spiritual power. His gaze sharpened, he joined his index and middle fingers and pointed out instantly. "Purple energy comes from the east." Earth-level finger technique, the second move of the heavenly ruined finger. Its power far surpassed the first move. In an instant, a beam of purple light shot out from his finger, striking Xianxia's incoming palm. With a puff, Xianxia's palm was instantly pierced by the purple light. The purple light continued unabated, forcing Xianxia to retreat repeatedly. He retreated all the way off the platform. The judge immediately shouted, "Xianxia has stepped out of bounds. The victor is Jiang Fan." After saying this, the judge quickly dashed over. He swiftly drew his mysterious iron-black blade, blocking the purple light heading towards Xianxia's chest. Clang! The mysterious iron-black blade trembled greatly. The impact caused the judge's palm to bleed. The sudden conclusion left everyone on the observation platform stunned. Xianxia lost. The second strongest of the Supreme Sect, the Sect Master's first disciple, lost just like that. The disciples looked on, feelings of sorrow and unwillingness swelling in their eyes. Their big senior brother lost to an outsider. Some of the female disciples even shed tears. Yan Yuking was also stunned. She had thought her martial uncle was strong, but not expected, just when she thought he was about to lose. He unexpectedly executed an extremely strange and powerful finger technique. Was this martial uncle's true strength? Yan Yuking's beautiful eyes glowed intensely, unbeknownst to her. This was merely a sparring match. In a real mortal combat, Xianxia would have long been like Elder Tai, dead under the purple sword. There would have been no chance for a fight of 200 moves, this fact. Xianxia didn't know either. He stood outside the stage, his gaze lost. He felt the world spinning. Everything seemed so unreal, he actually lost. Lost to a green cloud sect disciple without spirit root. He was the top disciple of the Supreme Sect. Everyone in the sect looked up to him. He couldn't lose. "I accidentally stepped out of bounds." "Let's go again." Xianxia stared at Jiang Fan, his eyes filled with unwillingness. The judge stopped him. "There's no need to compete again. You cannot beat him." He raised his mysterious iron-black blade. The blood from his palm covered much of the blade. It was quite glaring. But what was more glaring was a purple melted dent on the blade. This made Xianxia's pupils contract dramatically. Chapter 227. Chapter 227. The Supreme Sect Master is furious, the judge sighed. "Did you see that? Just now, with that one finger penetrating your palm was the least of your worries. If I hadn't stopped it in time, you would have had your chest pierced." Xianxia's face turned pale. His body involuntarily swayed. He wasn't a match for that one finger. No matter how many times they sparred, the result would always be the same. The huge blow shook his spirit, and he staggered and fell to the ground with a thud. Wang Yunj and Li Shiqian hurriedly caught him. Xianxia covered his face with his sleeve, too ashamed to show himself, his voice filled with guilt and a trace of choking. "Senior brothers, I've let you down." "Senior brother Hua." Both of them showed a look of sadness. He was their big senior brother. Xianxia had always been the figure they chased after. Watching him get knocked down by someone, there was an indescribable sadness in their hearts. It was like their faith had suddenly collapsed. The pain came from the depths of their hearts. All the disciples in the audience felt inexplicably sad, too. The big senior brother of the Supreme Sect had lost. This was even more heartbreaking than their own defeat in a sparring match, because the big senior brother was the backbone of their sect in their minds. The sect master and the elders sat there in a daze. Not a word could be said. The elites of the Supreme Sect had been completely defeated by a disciple of no renown. This left them feeling utterly desolate and extremely powerless. The elites they had painstakingly nurtured had been wiped out so easily. They even began to question whether they had been teaching their disciples seriously. At this moment, two figures, one old and one young, hurriedly arrived. They were none other than Great Elder Xianxia and the strongest member of the Supreme Sect, Xianxia Cultivation. Seeing Xianxia Cultivation's arrival, hope rekindled in the eyes of the disciples. That's right, we still have Senior Sister Xianxia. Our Supreme Sect's strongest prodigy, Senior Sister Xianxia, has yet to take action. Although she usually doesn't like to fight, considering the sect's honor, she will surely turn the tide. And so, a chorus of cheers erupted from the audience. Senior Sister Xianxia, please fight for us. The honor of the Supreme Sect rests on your shoulders. In response, Xianxia Cultivation calmly surveyed the scene, looked towards the stage with a hint of puzzlement. Seeing Jiang Fan, seeing the fallen Hua Xianxia and the disheveled Wang Yunj, Li Shiqian, and Luo Tianjiao, her confusion deepened. She glanced at Yan Yuking, who had rushed over. Inquiring, Senior Sister, what's going on? Yan Yuking hurriedly explained, Junior Sister, our uncle took to the stage for my sake. He was the one who knocked down Hua Xianxia and the others. You mustn't go up there. Huh. Xianxia Cultivation's beautiful crystalline eyes blinked, displaying a bit of bewilderment. You mean our uncle defeated Senior Brother Hua, Senior Brother Wang, and Senior Sister Li? Yan Yuking nodded vigorously. A slight smile appeared on Xianxia Cultivation's cold, dreamlike face. So our uncle is that powerful. I really thought he had no spirit root. That's wonderful. Yan Yuking asked, so you won't take action? Xianxia Cultivation replied, of course not. How could I fight against our uncle? She, who didn't enjoy fighting in the first place, how could she fight against the uncle she respected? The Supreme Sect Master and the other elders, upon hearing the conversation between the two women, were all shocked. Supreme Sect Master asked in astonishment, you mean this young man is your uncle? Where did you get an uncle from? The elders were also stupefied. This incredibly powerful youth actually had some connection with their divine Dr. Peak. Seeing that the matter couldn't be concealed any longer, Xianxia had no choice but to say, reporting to the Sect Master, Jang Fan is indeed my junior brother. This is an internal matter of our undying doctor lineage, which is why I didn't report it to the Sect Master. I didn't expect for him to catch the Sect Master's attention. The undying doctor lineage. So he was also a master in the medical path. The Supreme Sect Master and the elders were stunned. They were well aware of how proud Xianxia was in the realm of medical skills. Throughout the Nine Sect land, he didn't regard anyone's medical skills highly. For this Jiang Fan to be acknowledged as his junior brother, did it not mean his medical skills were exceedingly advanced? But how could one person be incredibly adept at both dual cultivation of body and magic, master all kinds of cultivation techniques, and be proficient in the medical path as well? After a long period of shock, the Supreme Sect Master instead sighed with relief. Fortunately, this person belonged to the undying doctor lineage and not any other Nine Sect disciples. In that case, it didn't count as the Supreme Sect being suppressed by other sects. He couldn't help but smile contentedly with a hint of exasperation. Your undying doctor lineage indeed has no simple characters. This one person has single-handedly defeated all our Supreme Sect's prodigies save for Xianxia Cultivation. He almost made us lose face completely. The elders also felt relieved and began sighing and muttering. Losing to someone from the undying doctor lineage was not dishonorable. However, Xianxia hesitated for a moment, then said truthfully, my junior brother's medical skills were inherited from our master in the undying doctor lineage. But his martial path naturally comes from his sect, the Green Cloud Sect. The Supreme Sect Master and the elders' smiles froze in place. You said he comes from where? The Supreme Sect Master's Adam's apple moved, forcing out the words with difficulty. His eyes were filled with disbelief. The Green Cloud Sect. The Green Cloud Sect at the bottom of the Nine Sect. Yes, the Green Cloud Sect. My junior brother is a disciple under the Green Cloud Sect Master. By the way, he just joined the sect this year and is still a newcomer. What? The Supreme Sect Master immediately stood up from his chair, pointing at Jiang Fan from a distance, utterly incredulous. You said he is a newcomer disciple? The elders also sprang up in shock, their eyes wide in astonishment. Great Elder, you must be mistaken, right? He's a newcomer. What kind of newcomer has this terrifying strength? You must be joking, this has to be a mistake. How can there be such an absurd newcomer? Yan Yuking's eyes widened. What? Uncle is still a newcomer in the Green Cloud Pavilion. This can't be a joke. Xianxia couldn't help but laugh. What's there to be mistaken about? How could I not be clear about my junior brother? The whole arena fell silent once more. The unparalleled expert who had defeated the Supreme Sect's elites was not some well-cultivated sect prodigy. but a newcomer who had just joined the sect. The most powerful newcomer in the Supreme Sect at the moment was only at the 6th layer of Foundation establishment, not even qualified to participate in the selection for resisting the beast tide. Meanwhile, a newcomer from another sect had come to the Supreme Sect and defeated all their elites. What a disparity! What a comparison! Xianxia, who had covered his face with his sleeve, sat up abruptly upon learning that Jiang Fan was a newcomer. His eyes bulged and his throat seemed to be blocked by something. I lost to a newcomer, already extremely defeated. Qi and blood surged through him, and he finally couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood, his vision going black as he fainted. Wang Yunj and Li Shiqian looked at Jiang Fan as if they were looking at a terrifying monster, a newcomer able to thrash the Supreme Sect's elites. Given time, wouldn't he obliterate even the elders of the Supreme Sect? At this moment, their gazes at Jiang Fan held no trace of disdain anymore, only limitless awe. It took a long time for the Supreme Sect Master to digest this shocking news. His gaze at Jiang Fan was now tinged with an unmistakable jealousy. He angrily pounded the table. "Where did Liu Wuchen find such a prodigy?" the elders echoed. "Truly a flower planted in cow dung. If he were in our Supreme Sect, he could absolutely be cultivated to be another Xia Caoj, no, someone who surpasses Xia Caoj. Liu Wuchen's strength may be lacking, but his luck is absurdly good. How could he come across such a prodigy?" Shang Yuansheng gave a wry smile. In his heart, he also felt proud of his junior brother. However, he couldn't allow Jiang Fan to stay in the Supreme Sect any longer. Who knew what these people might try to poach him? "Caoj, go fetch all the spiritual medicine and hand it over to your uncle so he can be on his way quickly." The Supreme Sect Master couldn't help but feel puzzled. "He's here to get spiritual medicine from you. But isn't he himself an heir to the undying doctor?" Shang Yuansheng explained. "No, these spiritual medicines are for his mission." Huh. The Supreme Sect Master was even more puzzled. "What mission?" Shang Yuansheng said. "Naturally, it's the mission assigned to the Green Cloud Sect by the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion against the Beast Tide. Currently, he is in charge of transporting spiritual medicine to the Spirit Beast Sect. The mission level is level 3? What?" The Supreme Sect Master's eyes widened, pointing at Jiang Fan from afar, incredulous. "Is this a joke? Such a battle-capable disciple assigned to a logistics task, and it's just a simple level 3 mission." Chapter 228. Chapter 228 mission partner Shang Yuansheng was also very puzzled and said, "I don't know how Sect Master Liu arranged it. Putting aside my junior brother's martial strength, just with his medical skills, he should be sent to the front line. Having him escort spiritual medicines, I don't understand the purpose of this arrangement." The elders were also astonished. Such a remarkable disciple, and he's being made to do logistics. What's going on? He can even take on demon beasts of the Beast King level, yet he's not being sent to the front line. Just as everyone was confused, the person who went to gather information about Jiang Fan returned. "Sect Master, I found out. This person's name is Jiang Fan, the disciple of the Green Cloud Sect Master. A few days ago, the Green Cloud Sect Master publicly announced the joyous news of Jiang Fan and his daughter. He acknowledged him as his son-in-law. Upon learning that Jiang Fan was Liu Wuchen's son-in-law, everyone's confusion was instantly cleared up. So Liu Wuchen was afraid his precious son-in-law might face danger on the front line. Hence, he arranged for him to do logistics in the rear. But just because they understood it, they were instantly furious. The Supreme Sect Master was so angry he smashed the table in front of him and roared, "Liu Wuchen, you bastard! Just because he's your son-in-law, you arrange for such a remarkable disciple to do logistics and carry out Tier 3 tasks, while the talented disciples of our other sects head for the front lines like fools. Just you wait. I'm writing a complaint to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion right now. This is simply outrageous." The usually good-tempered Supreme Sect Master was so angry that he started cursing repeatedly. He wrote the complaint on the spot. Shang Yuansheng's face twitched, and he muttered, "Liu Wuchen indeed went too far." He quickly signaled Yan Yuking with his eyes, instructing him to take Jiang Fan away. Not long after, outside the mountain gate, Yan Yuking bowed deeply, his eyes full of apology, and said, "Senior uncle, I have caused you trouble. For no reason I've brought so much trouble upon you." Jiang Fan shook his head nonchalantly and said, "No worries. If they dare to bully you again, just tell me." Yan Yuking chuckled helplessly and said, "After seeing senior uncle's prowess, who would dare to trouble me again?" After a brief hesitation, she seemed to have made a decision and said, "Senior uncle, you were right earlier. It's best to specialize in either medical or martial arts, otherwise one won't achieve anything in either. So, I have decided from now on to focus solely on medical path. Oh. Jiang Fan looked surprised. What about martial arts? He thought she would continue on the martial path, riding on her recent victories. Yan Yuking showed a bitter smile. Before meeting you, senior uncle, I always thought my talent in martial arts was not bad. With a little effort, my future achievements would not be inferior to others. But now, it seems, in the face of true geniuses, I am just ordinary. Rather than that, I might as well switch to the medical path and become a divine doctor like my master. Many disciples shared her feelings. In life, encountering someone too extraordinary could leave one feeling trapped their whole life. Hard to extricate oneself. Jiang Fan's stunning talent dimmed many people's hopes, making them doubt their future. But they weren't as lucky as Yan Yuking, having an alternative path as a divine doctor. Jiang Fan understood her mindset. He always believed Yan Yuking would have a brighter future focusing solely on the medical path. After a moment of thought, he took out a piece of his research on the undying medical book from his leisure time. Though not comprehensive, it contained some essence of the undying medical book. This is for you, make good use of it. Yan Yuking opened it and found it to be Jiang Fan's personally written insights on the medical path. She found the medical knowledge enriching and profound. She instantly realized its value. Moved to tears, she knelt down with a thud. "Senior uncle, please accept my 3 bows." Jiang Fan thought of helping her up but decided against it, accepting her 3 bows. Repaying this favor in this life would be unlikely. If he didn't allow her to bow, she would remember this favor forever. At that moment, Xianxia hurried over with 3 full carriages loaded with spiritual medicines. She handed the whip to Jiang Fan and said, "Senior uncle, here." Jiang Fan checked the task list, item by item, ensuring everything was there. Then he leaped onto the leading carriage. He clasped his hands and said, "To both of you juniors, the road in the Jianghu is long, take care." Finished speaking, he rode away. Yan Yuking stared blankly at Jiang Fan's departure, tears streaming silently down her face. "Senior uncle," she choked, gripping tightly the insights Jiang Fan gifted her. Despite only spending half a day together, it changed her life. It left her with an indelible memory she would never forget. Once there was a white-clad senior uncle who fought for her against all supreme prodigies. "Senior sister, what's that you're holding?" Xianxia asked curiously. Yan Yuking, cherishing it, opened it, her tear-filled eyes full of warmth. "A gift from senior uncle, his insights on the medical path." Xianxia peered over and was instantly mesmerized. Many long-standing mysteries in the medical path were solved instantly, until Yan Yuking closed it. Xianxia, still unsatisfied, lightly stomped her foot and pouted, "Senior uncle is biased." "Why didn't he give it to me?" Yan Yuking was stunned. For how many years, it was the first time she saw the usually aloof Xianxia displaying such a girlish demeanor. Senior uncle's charm was simply too great. She wiped away her tears and smiled through her sobs. "Don't worry, I never said I wouldn't share it with you. You can copy it when we get back. Just don't damage it, this is a gift from senior uncle." Xianxia finally smiled, impatiently prodding her back to the divine doctor peak. Meanwhile, Jiang Fan drove the beast carriage to the foot of the Supreme Sect. He thought he would have to wait a few more days for the other 3 partners to come to complete the task together. But unexpectedly, at the foot of the mountain under the shadows of swaying trees, sat 2 disciples with swords on their backs. The man was handsome and dashing, the woman tall and beautiful. Judging by their attire, they should be from the Myriad Sword Sect. They noticed Jiang Fan from afar and tentatively asked, "May I know who you are?" Jiang Fan directly showed his identity token and said, "Green Cloud Sect disciple, here to escort spiritual medicines." Their expressions relaxed, and they stood up, showing their own identity tokens, clasping their hands. "Myriad Sword Sect Lu Xing. Myriad Sword Sect Xinghe." Jiang Fan jumped off the carriage and took out the task Jade Scroll to verify. Seeing him take out the Jade Scroll, they were completely reassured, taking out their own Jade Scrolls. The 3 sides verified and matched exactly, confirming they were indeed the task executors. Xinghe, around 19 years old, had delicate features and excellent bone structure. She exuded an air of classical beauty. Looking at Jiang Fan, whose skin was fairer and more tender than hers, she felt a sense of fondness. "May I know your name, junior brother?" Jiang Fan hesitated for a moment but still answered truthfully, "Jiang Fan." Jiang Fan, Green Cloud Sect's Jiang Fan. She and Lu Xing exchanged glances, clearly having heard of this name. However, like others, what they had heard was not good news. Chapter 229. Chapter 229. Black Lotus, the goodwill in Xinghe's eyes faded at a visible speed, and she said perfunctorily, "Oh, it's junior brother Jiang. Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to meet you." Xinghe was not so tactful, saying bluntly, "How did I hear that you are a disciple without a spirit root? How could the Green Cloud Sect assign you a task? Aren't they afraid something might happen to you midway?" Jiang Fan smiled slightly. "It's the Sect's arrangement. I just follow orders." Xinghe nodded, saying, "I don't mean anything else, just asking. Escorting spiritual medicine is not a dangerous job. It's fine that you're joining. Just follow my orders on the way. Don't act rashly and you'll be fine." Seeing him speak so directly, Xinghe added on the side, "My senior brother Lu is a martial artist of the 7th layer of Foundation establishment. He should have been on a 2nd-level mission, but for some reason he came to do a 3rd-level mission. With him here, you can rest assured that the mission will be successfully completed." She pointed out Xinghe's strength, meaning that Xinghe was their leader. Jiang Fan naturally agreed. "Then I'll trouble senior brother Lu and senior sister Qin to take care of me. It seems we are still missing one person." Just as they were speaking, a female disciple hurried down from the Supreme Sect. She was tall and slender, with delicate features, fair skin, and long black hair, wearing a pale yellow long dress, like a slender butterfly fluttering in. After running a few steps, she was already gasping for breath, her cheeks slightly red, saying, excuse me, are you the disciples for the mission to escort spiritual medicine?" Xinghe looked at her delicate appearance and immediately showed a smile. "That's us. I am Xinghe, 7th layer of Foundation establishment. With me here, junior sister, you can be assured." The female disciple from the Supreme Sect showed a look of astonishment. Clearly, she was also shocked to have a teammate at the 7th layer of Foundation establishment in the team. A shy smile appeared on her bashful face. With him here, this mission would be foolproof. She took out her identity token, somewhat shyly. "I am choosing Meng from Supreme Sect. Greetings to senior brother Lu." Xinghe, dissatisfied with senior brother Lu's attitude, looked choosing Meng up and down. Her name matched her look, appearing pitiable and very lovable to men. She said indifferently, "Myriad Sword Sect Xinghe." Choosing Meng politely cupped her hands. "Greetings to senior sister Qin." Jang Fan said calmly, "Green Cloud Sect Jiang Fan." Choosing Meng hurriedly saluted. "Greetings to senior brother Jiang." "Wait." She suddenly raised her head. Staring at Jiang Fan in disbelief, her eyes widened as if she had seen a ghost. What are you doing here?" The reason she was late was because she was watching that spectacular friendly match on the observation platform. Jiang Fan's invincible figure, single-handedly defeating the elites of the Supreme Sect, was unforgettable for her. But she never dreamed that this person who was so stunning that he took her breath away, someone she thought she would never cross paths with again, was going to perform a 3rd-level task together with her. Isn't there some mistake? Her mind was in turmoil. Having one teammate at the 7th layer of Foundation establishment was already unusual. Why was Jiang Fan also here? She hastily took out her jade scroll, saying, Did I come to the wrong team?" She couldn't help but doubt. If she had joined the wrong team, this team was more than capable of completing a 1st-level task. Xinghe and Xinghe glanced at her in surprise. What was wrong with this woman? She acted strange the moment she saw Jiang Fan. The two took out their jade scrolls, and so did Jiang Fan. They cross-verified with her, confirming that Jiang Fan was indeed in the same team. Choosing Meng was a bit dazed. Xinghe asked in confusion, "Junior sister Chu, do you know junior brother Jiang?" Choosing Meng seemed a bit afraid of Jiang Fan. She peeked at him, stuttering, not knowing whether to say or not. Xinghe, slightly annoyed at her hesitation, pointed at the spiritual medicine on the carriage, saying, "Isn't it obvious? Junior brother Jiang went to the Supreme Sect to fetch spiritual medicine, and they met on the way." Xinghe thought for a moment, although the reasoning seemed a bit far-fetched. But it wasn't an important matter, so he didn't bother to ask more. He looked at Choosing Meng with a caring gaze, saying, "Junior sister Chu, the journey to the Spirit Beast Sect is long. I have prepared a special riding beast. If you don't mind, join us." He pointed to a spirit beast tied under a tree not far away, looking neither like a horse nor not. It was twice as large as an ordinary horse. A broad, soft seat was installed on its back, enough to seat 4 people comfortably. Choosing Meng nodded. Then realizing Jiang Fan, who was extraordinarily powerful, was also here, she quickly said, "What about senior brother Jiang?" Lu Xing didn't intend to let Jiang Fan ride his spirit beast. It had cost him 300 crystal stones to rent it. Completing the mission with Jiang Fan's help was already a tremendous favor. How could he let him enjoy the ride he paid for? Jiang Fan said indifferently, "I won't need it. I have to escort the spiritual medicine." He was slightly speechless. Since they were responsible for escorting the spiritual medicine, why have a separate riding beast? With everyone on the spirit beast, who would watch the medicine? Though the journey posed almost no risk, what if? He leaped onto the horse's back in one go. With Jiang Fan foregoing comfort, choosing Meng didn't feel right, valuing comfort more. She said quietly, "Senior brother Jiang, I'll come along." She jumped onto the horse at the back of the last carriage, guarding the 3 carts of spiritual medicine together with Jiang Fan front and back. Lu Xinghe's face stiffened. Xinghe took the opportunity to mock. "Junior sister Chu would rather endure the bumps with junior brother Jiang than be with you, putting your warm face against a cold bottom." Haha, Lu Xing's face darkened further. He cast an unfriendly look at Jiang Fan and leaped onto the spirit beast, snorting coldly, "Junior sister Chu is young and doesn't understand danger. Does she truly think the journey will be safe? As far as I know, at the border of the Supreme Sect and the Spirit Beast Sect, there is a gang of bandits. Their leader, Black Lotus, is a master at the 9th layer of Foundation establishment." Hearing this, the look of mockery on Xinghe's face gradually faded, becoming somewhat grave. She had heard of this group of bandits. All were deserted disciples from major martial path families and the 9th Sect, with powerful cultivation and profound techniques. Each one was a formidable and hard-to-deal-with character, especially Black Lotus, once a proud daughter of the Supreme Sect, expelled for stealing cultivation techniques from the Scripture Pavilion. After becoming a bandit, she gathered deserters from various factions in the 9th Sect land, becoming extremely strong. Even martial artists at the 1st or 2nd layer of core formation had to think twice before encountering them because strength alone couldn't prevail over numbers. Thinking of this, Xinghe shivered and didn't dare to be jealous anymore. She timidly said, "Senior brother Lu, thank goodness this time you're with us. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare take this mission." Lu Xinghe smiled secretly. He only told half the story, the other half being that Black Lotus had a vast range of activity. The likelihood of an encounter was minimal. Several days later, they smoothly reached the border of the Supreme Sect. Just across the mountain ahead was the Spirit Beast Sect's territory. During these days, taking advantage of the traveling gaps, Jiang Fan successfully cultivated Wandering Dragon Palm to the final layer. Its power was no less than the 2nd form of Heavenly Ruined Finger. Purple energy comes from the east. If he engaged Hua Xianxia in another palm technique contest, it would no longer work with spiritual power consumption tactics, because one palm could decide the outcome. Nay, suddenly, the horse in front seemed startled, raising its forelegs and letting out a neigh. Jiang Fan's figure staggered, nearly falling. His heart sank. He immediately dismounted, hiding behind the horse, narrowing his eyes to survey the surroundings. Chapter 230. Chapter 230. Big Fish, his strange behavior aroused the vigilance of the 3 others. Lu Xing and Xinghe immediately jumped off their spirit beasts, hid themselves, and quietly surveyed the surroundings. Choosing Meng also hastily jumped down from the carriage at the rear, crouching as she ran to hide behind Jiang Fan. "Senior brother Jiang, what happened?" Choosing Meng looked around nervously. Jiang Fan shook his head and said, "I don't know, but the horses were suddenly startled just now." The group observed for a long time, but everything around them remained quiet, with no sign of anything unusual. Lu Xing relaxed his guard and said, "Perhaps a small animal passing by alarmed the horses. Junior brother Jiang, you're overthinking it. You need more training in the future." Xinghe sighed in relief at this, complaining, "So it was a false alarm. It made everyone so tense." Jiang Fan didn't believe it was just a false alarm. All 3 horses were specially raised by the Supreme Sect. Although they were not spirit beasts, they were still among the best horses. How could they be frightened without reason? They must have sensed something earlier. He cast a wary glance at the dense, dark mountains ahead. "Senior brother Lu, just look at the mountain in front. The forest is so dense, there should be many snakes, insects, birds, and beasts. But it's very quiet right now, which is unusual. I suggest we go around this mountain." Xinghe's heart skipped a beat. If Jiang Fan hadn't pointed it out, she wouldn't have noticed anything. Upon careful consideration, she indeed felt that the forest ahead was oddly quiet. There wasn't even the sound of birds singing, let alone the noise of beasts. Xinghe, who had witnessed Jiang Fan's strength, trusted him unconditionally and said, "Senior brother Jiang is right. I also think this mountain is eerie. It's safer to go around it." Xinghe frowned. Jiang Fan's reminder had also made him realize that something was unusual about the mountain. However, as their leader, the fact that he hadn't noticed the issue himself and had been outdone by the most inconspicuous member, Jiang Fan, hurt his pride. Xinghe's unwavering trust in Jiang Fan also stung his self-esteem. He couldn't help feeling a bit defiant. "Junior brother Jiang, don't scare yourself. Maybe a tiger passed by, scaring the birds and beasts away. With me here, are we really afraid of just a tiger? Besides, taking a detour would take an extra 5 days. The sooner we deliver our cargo, the sooner we can take on new tasks. We can't afford to delay." Xinghe furrowed her graceful brows. Looking at the forest ahead, she felt uneasy and said, "Senior brother, I still think we should heed junior brother Jiang's advice. It's better to be safe than sorry. Taking a few extra days isn't a big deal." Listening to his own junior sister siding with Jiang Fan made Xinghe feel even more embarrassed. He said, "Fine, you can take the cargo on the detour. I'll go straight through." With that, he jumped onto his spirit beast and headed directly towards the mountain, leaving the others behind. Jiang Fan and the two ladies exchanged glances. Xinghe stomped her foot in frustration but helplessly followed. Xinghe was the strongest among them, so it was safest to follow him. Jiang Fan glanced at Xinghe and sighed, "All right then, let's cross the mountain. If anything happens to them in the mountain, I would have to undergo an investigation when we deliver the task." The task's jade scroll included a note. Team members had to help each other. If there were any unnecessary casualties, they needed to report to the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion and undergo an investigation by them. The process could last as little as 10 days or as long as several months. Jiang Fan didn't have that much time to spare, so he had no choice but to go along to prevent any accidents from happening to them. Xinghe felt a bit speechless. Senior brother Lu is indescribable. Jiang Fan also had some insights into Xinghe's attitude and couldn't help feeling speechless himself. He softly reminded, "Junior sister Chu, stay close to me." If they encountered manageable danger, that would be fine. If it were beyond his ability, he would just have to run away. With his movement technique, he could escape with Xinghe without a problem. As for Xinghe and Xinghe, they would have to fend for themselves. So, Jiang Fan and Xinghe herded the 3 horse-drawn carriages and followed along. Noticing they were following, Xinghe showed a sneer at the corner of his mouth. "They talk tough but don't have the guts to leave me, Xinghe." He proudly led the way, confidently saying, "Don't worry. With me here, even a ghost must think twice before facing Xinghe's sword." Jiang Fan didn't bother to respond. As they entered the mountains, the surroundings quickly darkened and he became highly alert. He was fully focused on the surroundings. The deeper they went, the more he felt the unusual silence around them. There wasn't even the slightest sound of insects. In the entire forest, the only sounds were the heavy breathing of the horses and the creaking of leaves and dry branches underfoot. The silence was eerie and unnerving. Xinghe also sensed something was off. This didn't seem like it was caused by a tiger passing through. It felt more like something with heavy malicious energy was lurking around. Regret began to seep into his heart. There indeed seemed to be danger in this forest. Thin beads of sweat formed on his forehead. However, he was stuck in this situation and couldn't bring himself to turn back. Fortunately, Xinghe spoke up. "Senior brother, we can't go any further. We should retreat." She swallowed hard, feeling increasingly uneasy. Since someone had spoken up, Xinghe took the opportunity and said, "Since you are all scared, I won't force you." "All right, we'll do what you say." Upon hearing this, everyone's mood instantly relaxed. They immediately turned the carriages around. However, at that moment, a sharp whistling sound suddenly pierced through the deathly silent forest without warning. Fortunately, the forest's quietness made it noticeable. Xinghe immediately drew the orange-yellow, long sword from his waist. In the dark night, he slashed precisely at the incoming object. With a soft clang, the incoming object was struck down to the ground. Everyone looked down. It was a completely purple metallic crossbow arrow. On the tail of the arrow, a small lotus motif was engraved. Xinghe's heart froze, his pupils dilated, and his throat felt like it was choked. He stuttered and finally managed to utter 2 words. "Black Lotus!" No sooner had he spoken. From a tangled dark shadow in front of them, there was sudden movement. It was actually a person hiding there. With a coarse voice, she said, "Oh, so you know who we are. That makes things easier." Jiang Fan's heart sank further. Indeed, there was an ambush here. Worse still, it was more than one person. Rattle, several thick clusters of pine needles were cleared away, revealing several figures emerging from the ground. Additionally, a few shadows leaped down from the trees. They swiftly surrounded Jiang Fan and his companions on all sides. Jang Fan calmly gripped his purple spirit sword. He watched intently as a leader-like woman stepped out of the shadow. She was about 30 years old, with a leather outfit outlining her curvaceous figure clearly. Despite the signs of age on her face, her former beauty was still evident. Her eyes glimmered with both cunning and hidden cruelty. "Oh, turns out you're disciples of the 9 Sect, Myriad Sword Sect, Green Cloud Sect, and Supreme Sect. Brothers, we're in luck. We've caught a big fish today." She narrowed her eyes, a smile forming on her lips. Chapter 231. Chapter 231. Jiang Fan takes action. The bandits surrounding them learned that the 4 individuals were 9 Sect disciples. Immediately, their eyes lit up with greedy anticipation, and they let out wanton, sinister laughs. 9 Sect disciples are always carrying valuable goods. "I bet those 3 carriages are loaded with treasures, huh?" "Ha ha ha. A bunch of blind fools. Those things can't compare to having 2 lovely female disciples. You all can have the treasures, but the 2 pretty female disciples are mine." Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng's faces turned slightly pale, their hearts sinking. The difference was, Xinghe clung tightly to Lu Xinghe's back. Chu Xingmeng, on the other hand, hid behind Jiang Fan, feeling somewhat reassured by his powerful aura. Under normal circumstances, Lu Xinghe would have been jealous long ago. But at the moment, he had no time to worry about such things. He gritted his teeth and shouted, "We are carrying out an order from the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, performing a transport mission. Black Lotus, you better be aware of what you're doing. If you upset the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion, there will be no escape for you, even in heaven or earth." Jiang Fan silently thought, "This is bad. If you reveal your hand like this, there's no room for negotiation." As expected, the smile on Black Lotus' face faded gradually. A trace of danger permeated her eyes. "You remind me, if I let you live, isn't that cutting off my own escape route? Initially, I only wanted to steal your things and leave it at that. Unfortunately, for my sake and for my brothers, I'll have to inconvenience you 4. Lu Xing's face instantly turned a livid color. It turned out Black Lotus had no intention of killing them. By using the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion to threaten her, he had invited catastrophe. He regretted it endlessly, but had no choice but to raise his sword and said harshly, "If you want to kill us, you'll have to pay the price." With that, he unleashed his spiritual power at the Foundation Establishment's 7th layer. Jiang Fan, seeing this, wanted to kick him flying. "Are you a pig?" Black Lotus is a ruthless bandit. If she wanted to kill, she would have done so instantly without so much talking. The reason she hadn't acted yet was because she was unsure of the 4's strength and was wary. But now, Lu Xinghe had shown all his cards. He's like a pig of a teammate. Black Lotus sensed his power, saw it was only at Foundation Establishment 7th layer, and grinned. "So, just a little Foundation Establishment 7th layer runt. Then I am reassured. Brothers above Foundation Establishment 7th layer attack. Leave no one alive." The 8 bandits surrounding them immediately charged at the 4 of them. The 4 martial artists below Foundation Establishment 7th layer stepped back a few steps, crossbows aimed at them. In case they escaped from the 4's encirclement, they planned to block their escape with crossbow arrows. They worked skillfully and cooperatively. Lu Xinghe only then realized that Black Lotus had been intimidating him to force him to reveal his hand. Regret and shame filled him, but he had no time to think. A burly bandit wielding a blade charged like a beast. He leaped into the air, slashing down at Lu Xinghe. Lu Xinghe's face changed slightly. He hurriedly used his swordsmanship to try to parry the attack. But as the weapons met, he felt as if a mountain was crushing him down, his longsword pushed to his shoulder. The back of the blade embedded deeply into his flesh, causing Lu Xinghe to gasp in pain. And it wasn't over yet. The bandit rotated the blade, its sharp edge aimed at his head. Frightened and alarmed, Lu Xinghe mustered survival strength. Raising his sword to deflect the blade, it narrowly missed his scalp, cutting off a large chunk of hair. Although both were at Foundation Establishment 7th layer within the sect, Lu Xinghe's strength was far inferior to the battle-hardened bandit. After several exchanges, Lu Xinghe found himself in repeated peril. The more he fought, the more terrified he became. Especially with 3 other Foundation Establishment 7th layer bandits and the formidable Black Lotus watching. Panic grew in his heart. Seizing a moment when his strike forced the bandit back, he leaped into the dense forest beside them. Not caring about the thorns scratching his face and neck, he ran desperately for his life. As for his junior sister Xinghe, he didn't even glance back. The bandit with the blade Mo raised his blade to give chase, but Black Lotus showed a cat-and-mouse grin. "I'll go after him. You handle the rest." With that, she flicked her cloak and disappeared into the forest. The remaining 4 Foundation Establishment 7th-layer bandits, grinning hideously, surrounded Jiang Fan and the 2 female disciples. The bandit with the blade Mo's eyes roved fervently over Xinghe's alluring figure. Licking his lips, he excitedly said, "No one else touches this woman." The remaining 3 bandits, also at Foundation Establishment 7th layer, halted with wicked grins, watching him approach her with his blade. He took large strides toward Xinghe, his cold eyes falling on Jiang Fan, who stood in front of her. He raised his blade for a slash. "Blind fool! Die!" However, his blade lost force as it reached midair. It finally dropped to the ground with a thud. The 3 Foundation Establishment 7th-layer bandits froze. Only when they saw their companion clutching his neck, blood gushing out, falling and writhing on the ground, did their faces change drastically. Jiang Fan stood, gripping a blood-stained black sword with a hint of cold detachment in his eyes. "So you're just a group of Foundation Establishment 7th-layer bandits. Then it's simple." Lu Xing wasn't the only one revealing his hand. To Jiang Fan, they had exposed everything at the first move. Aside from Black Lotus, whose power remained unknown, the bandits before him were no threat. Xinghe was stunned. She looked at the now immobile bandit with the blade Mo, then at Jiang Fan, whom she had never regarded seriously. It felt like a dream. In contrast, Xinghe felt completely reassured the moment Jiang Fan drew his sword. She knew she was safe now. Finally, the 3 bandits at Foundation Establishment 7th layer realized, their faces changing repeatedly. "He's the hidden master. Quick. Attack together, don't let him pick us off one by one." Though panicked, they coordinated seamlessly. From 3 directions, they launched their assault on Jiang Fan. Jiang Fan, with one sword, moved deftly among them using his movement technique. Splitting light sword, sunrise over the sea, heaven and earth star fall, each sword strike decisively ended a bandit's life. At the 3rd strike, the last bandit screamed in terror, falling back and shouting, "Shoot him." Quickly, but before the outer bandits could pull their crossbows, heaven and earth star fall slashed across his back, severing his body. The outer bandits, witnessing Jiang Fan's terrifying skills, dared not continue the fight. They scattered in fear. Jiang Fan's eyes hardened and he gave chase with his sword. Given his movement technique, bandits below Foundation Establishment 7th layer had no hope of escape. Moments later, corpses were strewn around. After finishing the last bandit, Jiang Fan tore a piece of cloth from the bandit's clothes, wiped the blood from his sword, and sheathed it. Expressionless, he jumped onto the carriage and said, "Let's go, we need to get moving." Xinghe quickly jumped onto another and obediently took the reins. Xinghe hesitated, asking, "Shouldn't we find senior brother Lu?" She looked at Jiang Fan, her eyes holding a trace of plea. Jiang Fan replied coldly, "Senior sister Qin can go look for him herself. Junior sister Chu and I must continue the transport mission. Farewell." He nudged the horse into motion, pulling the carriage onward. Panic gripped Xinghe's heart. She didn't dare look for Lu Xing nor stay there, for if Black Lotus returned, she would surely die. She quickly mounted her spirit beast and sped off in pursuit, whispering to herself, "Senior brother Lu, don't blame us. Blame yourself for leaving us first." Not long after, the mountain forest stirred, Black Lotus returned, dragging a bloodied and severely injured Lu Xing. "Brothers, did you finish the job? Clean up the goods, we need to." Her words faltered as her gaze landed on the corpses scattered around, ending abruptly. Chapter 232. Chapter 232, the hatred attracted by Sect Master Gong, she hurriedly left Lu Xinghe and stumbled towards the bandit blade Mo. She pushed his body with all her might. Black dragon, black dragon." As she continued pushing, she discovered his eyes were cloudy, filled with deep unwillingness. The wound on his neck was covered with a layer of dried blood. Blood was everywhere underneath him. However, he had long turned cold. She was instantly disoriented, and then quickly scrambled towards the corpses of the other 3 Foundation Establishment 7th layer bandits. Iron head, broken hand. She rushed to check each of them, hoping to save even one brother, yet without exception, all were dead, died clean and neat, all killed with one strike, leaving no chance of survival. What happened? Can anyone tell me what happened? Why are all my brothers dead? With tears in her eyes, Black Lotus howled to the sky. Her rough voice echoed in the deathly still forest full of junior brothers, making it especially eerie. Lu Xing took a glance at the gruesome scene and swallowed hard. Taking advantage of Black Lotus's distraction, he quietly moved his body, attempting to escape. But as soon as he moved, the sound of his footsteps caught Black Lotus's attention. Bam! Lu Xing only saw a blur in front of his eyes and his chest was punched, almost shattering his ribs. Next, Black Lotus grabbed his neck with one hand. How did they die? Speak, Black Lotus roared madly as if losing her mind. Lu Xing's face flushed red, struggling to say, how would I know? Black Lotus threw him harshly on the ground, then stepped on his chest. She shouted with murderous intent, Is there a hidden expert in your team? Otherwise, my battle-hardened brothers couldn't have been killed in such a short time. She accurately deduced that there was an expert among them. Lu Xinghe insisted, No, I swear, it wasn't our people. My junior sister Xinghe only has a 5th-layer foundation establishment cultivation. The Supreme Sect disciple Chu Xingmeng also only has a 5th-layer foundation establishment cultivation. As for the Green Cloud Sect disciple Jiang Fan, he doesn't even have a spirit root. He might not even be in the foundation establishment realm. The person who killed your brothers must be a passing expert. Seeing him swear with conviction, seemingly not lying, Black Lotus also began to doubt her own suspicion. Could it really be a passing expert? But then she thought, not to mention how coincidental this expert's arrival was. Jang Fan and the 2 female disciples, along with 3 carriages and a spirit beast, had all disappeared, which indicated that her brothers' deaths were related to them. Whether there is a hidden expert in your team or not, you must take me to find them immediately. If you can't, I'll gouge out your eyes and cut off your tongue, Black Lotus threatened fiercely, speaking of Jiang Fan. He traveled continuously, and after half a day, finally crossed the mountain range and entered the territory of the Spirit Beast Sect. Leaving the dark forest behind, they looked at the boundless grassland ahead. Both women felt a sense of relief, as if they had narrowly escaped death. Hey, there's a convoy coming towards us ahead. Chu Xingmeng, with sharp eyes, suddenly noticed a grand convoy of spirit beasts approaching from the end of the grassland. Upon hearing this, Xinghe immediately drew her longsword, staying vigilant. Chu Xingmeng also adopted a defensive stance, but Jiang Fan, after thinking briefly, said, No need to panic, these are most likely people from the Spirit Beast Sect. Spirit beasts were rare in the 9-sect land. For instance, Green Cloud Sect didn't have even one spirit beast. A whole convoy of spirit beasts could only belong to the Spirit Beast Sect. Indeed. As the convoy came closer, a group of colorful, beautifully dressed women riding spirit beasts came into view. These outfits were indeed from the Spirit Beast Sect. Who are you? Leading the Spirit Beast was a slightly older female disciple. She gazed at them warily. Jiang Fan and the others took out their identity tokens. Xinghe from Myriad Sword Sect. Chu Xingmeng from Supreme Sect. Upon learning they were disciples of the 9th Sect, she relaxed her guard and took a glance at the 3 carriages behind them. She roughly understood their purpose. Showing a gentle smile, I am Zhang Zumu from the Spirit Beast Sect, just like you on a mission. Upon hearing the name Zhang Zumu, Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng hurriedly jumped off their carriage. They bowed and said, Greetings, senior sister Zhang. Jiang Fan was puzzled. Is Zhang Zumu really famous? Why were the 2 women so respectful towards her? Jiang Fan's continued sitting on horseback, carefully protecting the carriage, naturally attracted Zhang Zumu's attention. Are you from the Green Cloud Sect? Jiang Fan cupped his hands. I am Jiang Fan from the Green Cloud Sect, greeting senior sister Zhang. As soon as his name was mentioned, Zhang Zumu showed a surprised look. You are Jiang Fan? The 6 female disciples in colorful clothes behind her immediately perked up, standing up in unison. They curiously sized up Jiang Fan, chattering endlessly. He is Jiang Fan from Green Cloud Sect. We actually saw him in person today. He's quite fair and clean, even smoother than us. No wonder the sect master keeps bringing up his name. Indeed, who wouldn't be moved by such a handsome little gentleman? Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng were stunned, especially the latter. She only knew Jiang Fan was highly skilled, but never thought Jiang Fan had such a big reputation in the Spirit Beast Sect. Moreover, he seemed to be very popular among the female disciples. One should know the Spirit Beast Sect only had female disciples. They naturally rejected male disciples. Few male disciples could get unanimous admiration from them. Show some respect, Zhang Zumu gently scolded, stopping the disciples' chatter. Then she stared at Jiang Fan and said coldly, Junior brother Jiang, you are highly esteemed by my master. You must be skilled. I guess your task this time is at least a level 2 mission, just like mine. As a disciple of Gong Kei, she understood better than others how highly Gong Kei praised Jiang Fan. Ever since she came back, she often mentioned Jiang Fan's good qualities. Teaching cultivation techniques, praising Jiang Fan's comprehension, saying if they had half of Jiang Fan's comprehension, it would be easier. Teaching swordsmanship, lamenting how profound Jiang Fan's swordsmanship was, saying none of her disciples could compare. Spending large sums on spiritual medicines, saying regretfully that none of her disciples were as competent as Jiang Fan, who could refine spiritual medicine himself. In short, this past month, Jiang Fan's name almost became a callus in her ears. What made her and her fellow disciples even more aggrieved was that in Gong Kei's mouth, they were worthless compared to Jiang Fan. Now she finally met Jiang Fan in person. How could Zhang Zumu be in a good mood? How could she not want to compare with him? She wanted to see for herself how she, a ninth-layer foundation establishment prodigy, was inferior to Jiang Fan. If she didn't compete with him today, she wouldn't let Jiang Fan go. Jiang Fan noticed the dissatisfaction in her words, feeling puzzled. This was his first time in the Spirit Beast Sect, hadn't he offended anyone. To avoid conflict, he humbly said, "Sect Master Gong overpraised me. My aptitude is just average, unable to undertake level 2 missions like Senior Sister." Aptitude just average. You. Chu Meng's body shook, almost falling to the ground. If you are average, then there aren't many with good aptitude in the world. Zhang Zumu snorted, "No need to be modest. My master, though gentle on the surface, is actually very proud, rarely praising others. If she mentions you repeatedly, you must have exceptional qualities. Tell me, what mission are you on? Let's compare." Jiang Fan muttered inwardly. "Gong Kei, oh Gong Kei, why do you keep mentioning me?" Chapter 233. Chapter 233, The Hidden Strength of Black Lotus. At this moment, Jiang Fan was as innocent as he could be. He sat at home, and yet trouble came from the skies. He sighed helplessly and said, "I am not lying. I am executing a 3rd-level mission. How can it be compared to Senior Sister's 2nd-level mission?" 3rd level. Zhang Zumu was stunned. The female disciples behind her also showed incredulous expressions. "Ah! The person praised by the Master to the heavens should at least be on a 2nd-level mission or even a 1st-level mission, right? Could it be that we were right? The Master just likes his handsome appearance. I can't believe that such a talented person, in the Master's words, only received a 3rd-level mission." Zhang Zumu, who originally wanted to compare herself with Jiang Fan, was dumbfounded. It took her a while to snap out of it and look Jiang Fan up and down in astonishment. She couldn't understand either and muttered, "I really don't know what the Master sees in you." Since the Green Cloud Sect arranged a 3rd-level mission for Jiang Fan, it naturally considered his limited strength. Indirectly, it indicated that he was not outstanding. And the Green Cloud Sect must understand its own disciples better than the Master does, right? She highly doubted whether Gong Kei had a huge misunderstanding about Jiang Fan. Thinking of this, her desire to compete disappeared, and she said without interest, "It is said that beneath a famous name there are no weak fighters. Now it seems that is not necessarily true. Fine, you go and execute your 3rd-level mission. Farewell." She patted the spirit beast's head and urged the team along the mountain path into the mountain range. Jiang Fan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Immediately, he noticed that they were escorting a group of demon wolf spirit beasts prepared for frontline battles. He couldn't help but feel a sudden realization. He recalled what Black Lotus said earlier. She seemed somewhat surprised when she met Jiang Fan and his group. So this meant that the target of their ambush wasn't Jiang Fan and his group. Upon seeing the extremely precious demon wolf spirit beasts, he suddenly understood. Black Lotus was waiting for the Spirit Beast Sect's escort team. Jiang Fan and his group were just unlucky to stumble into the ambush. "Senior Sister, wait!" Jiang Fan hurriedly called out to her. "Have you ensured the secrecy of your mission?" Zhang Zumu reined in her spirit beast and turned her head, looking at Jiang Fan vigilantly. "What do you mean?" Jiang Fan said solemnly. "When we passed through this mountain range, we encountered a bandit named Black Lotus who is stationed at the intersection of the 2 sects. They are ambushing the other side of the mountain on a vital route. I think their target might be the demon wolves you are escorting." These demon wolves had all been tamed. Not only could they follow human commands, but they also possessed very formidable combat strength. If the Black Lotus bandits seized them, their strength would increase substantially. Black Lotus. The Spirit Beast Sect disciples had naturally heard of the bandits nearby. They immediately became uneasy. The leader of the Black Lotus is a martial artist of the Foundation Establishment Realm 9th Layer, who was once a disciple of the Supreme Sect and learned many Supreme Sect's secret techniques, making her very powerful. Moreover, she has 4 protectors at the Foundation Establishment Realm 7th Layer under her command. Only senior sister Jiang can put up a fight. We will be like lambs to the slaughter if we encounter them. Silence! Jiang Zumu shouted and stared at Jiang Fan. Junior brother Jiang, are you sure you didn't see it wrong? If there were an ambush by Black Lotus in the forest, she would consider taking a detour. Otherwise, she couldn't withstand these bandits alone. Chu Xingmeng felt a bit sorry for Jiang Fan. She targeted him as soon as they met, as if he owed the Spirit Beast Sect something. She bowed immediately and said, Senior sister Jiang, not only has our senior brother Jiang seen the Black Lotus bandits, he also killed all the bandits except for the leader. What? The female disciples of the Spirit Beast Sect behind her were all dumbfounded on the spot. Jiang Fan, by himself. Jiang Zumu also took a moment to digest this unbelievable news. The Black Lotus bandits came and went without a trace and were incredibly powerful. Despite several attempts, the Spirit Beast Sect failed to eliminate them. Now, to say Jiang Fan alone had wiped out all the Black Lotus bandits except for the leader, was that possible? Even for her, it was absolutely impossible. With a hint of mockery, she said, the female disciples of the Supreme Sect have also started helping others lie. Such a surprise. Let's go. Clearly, she believed Jiang Fan had been slightly provoked by her words. He was deliberately lying to scare her. The rest of the female disciples were also highly skeptical, so they followed Jiang Zumu without further thought as they stepped onto the mountain path. Jiang Fan opened his mouth. Xinghe, beside him, felt it was unfair for Jiang Fan and said, Junior brother Jiang, you have done all you can. If they want to court death, let them. Let's just complete our own mission. If it were someone else being treated so rudely, she would be eager to see the other party in trouble. But Jiang Fan kindly reminded them, and they still thought he was deceiving them. It was like searching for death by lighting a lamp in the toilet at midnight. Jiang Fan knew he couldn't persuade them, so he couldn't be bothered, and immediately rode away. Jiang Zumu listened to Xinghe's words, her face sank, and she snorted. The female disciples of the Myriad Sword Sect are not good either. Both of them act like they have eaten bewitching elixirs, helping Jiang Fan to save face. If there are Black Lotus bandits in this mountain, I'll stand on my head, before she finished her sentence. She suddenly shivered, her pupils contracting intensely, before her on the mountain path. A woman garbed in tight leather, her face full of murderous intent, was running with a blood-soaked young man in tow. Jiang Zumu did not recognize the young man, but she had seen the woman's portrait many times. It was the leader of the Black Lotus bandits, who was jointly wanted by the Spirit Beast Sect and the Supreme Sect. Black Lotus, she gasped. She hurriedly drew her long sword and shouted as she faced the fearsome Black Lotus. Black Lotus, how dare you? You even dare to rob the Spirit Beast Sect's goods. But Black Lotus completely ignored her. As soon as she saw Jiang Fan's beast carriage not far away, she exuded immense killing intent. She threw Lu Xinghe harshly at Jiang Zumu immediately. Then she swiftly chased after Jiang Fan. Jiang Zumu hurriedly caught the thrown Lu Xinghe, but felt an enormous force that she couldn't bear. She was smashed to the ground, sprawled in all directions. Her face showed a look of horror. Core Formation Realm? Black Lotus has already broken through to the Core Formation Realm. The world thought of her as being in the Foundation Establishment Realm 9th Layer. But in reality, she had long broken through the shackles of the Foundation Establishment Realm and reached the Core Formation Realm. Only now, in her fury, did she expose her hidden cultivation. Jiang Fan also sensed the killing intent approaching rapidly. He immediately jumped off the horse and held his sword, looking back. He saw Black Lotus rushing towards him with killing intention. Who killed my brothers? Have him come out. Keep hiding and I'll kill all 3 of you. Looking at the irrational, demon-like Black Lotus, Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng shivered in fear. She caught up so quickly. And she was in the Core Formation Realm. Black Lotus's eyes bypassed Jiang Fan and the 2 women, landing on the 3 tightly covered carriages. She shouted, "Come out, the one who killed my people, afraid to show yourself." Jiang Fan flourished his sword gracefully. He said indifferently, "Is it possible that I killed all your brothers?" Chapter 234. Chapter 234. Underestimating the enemy is a fatal flaw from afar. Jiang Zumu, who heard these words, was shocked and exclaimed, "Is he crazy? It's one thing to boast in front of us, but how dare he speak so brazenly in front of the Black Lotus? Can't he see that the Black Lotus is out of control? Several female disciples were also extremely tense. Senior Sister Zhang, what should we do? Are we just going to watch her kill Jiang Fan? If Master finds out we didn't try to save him, she definitely won't spare us. Zhang Zumu was infuriated. She fiercely pounded the ground. Go, let's go stop the Black Lotus. Just as that junior sister had said, Master cherished Jiang Fan so much. If she knew that we just watched him die at the hands of the Black Lotus, she would definitely punish them. As she climbed up, she spoke fiercely, if a junior sister dies trying to save him, I won't forgive him. At the same time, the Black Lotus was also shocked by Jiang Fan's words. Her eyes filled with murderous intent stared fiercely. You! Get out of the way, let that person come out. She would rather believe it was Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng who were at Foundation Establishment 5th layer. She couldn't believe that so many of her brothers would be killed by a person without a spirit root. Jiang Fan took a deep breath and said, Senior Sister Qin, Junior Sister Chu, fall back, there's going to be a fierce battle. Although both were in the core formation realm, the Black Lotus, who licked blood off the knife's edge, was undoubtedly stronger than Hua Xianxia. To kill her, he would have to use all his strength. Once the battle started, the surrounding situation would be beyond his control. Xinghe showed reluctance in her eyes and clenched her teeth slightly. I'll help you too. After all, if Jiang Fan died, the Black Lotus probably wouldn't spare her either. It was better to assist Jiang Fan, perhaps there was a slim chance of survival. Chu Xingmeng also saw that the Black Lotus's strength was certainly above Hua Xianxia's. When Jiang Fan defeated Hua Xianxia, it took more than 200 moves, and it was not easy. Now faced with the Black Lotus, how much chance did he have? She immediately pulled out her delicate, snow-white long sword and stood beside Jiang Fan. And the Black Lotus, who had been waiting for a hidden expert but received no response, finally grew impatient. Her eyes were filled with fierce killing intent. Fine, you're not coming out, right? Then I'll kill one first. Let's see if you'll come out then. With a casual glance, she looked at the center where Jiang Fan was standing and shouted fiercely, You like to show off? Then it's you. With a swishing sound, a pitch-black ink-like scimitar appeared in her hand, extremely sharp. She leapt towards Jiang Fan with a tip of her toes. Zhang Zumu led the group, still halfway there. Seeing the Black Lotus attacking Jiang Fan from afar, her face changed dramatically, and she shouted from a distance, Stop! The Black Lotus completely ignored her. The pitch-black scimitar in her hand mercilessly slashed towards Jiang Fan's neck. This scene made Zhang Zumu and the other female disciples' pupils shrink dramatically. In their hearts, they silently thought, it's over. Prepare for Gong Kei's wrath, however. What left them stunned immediately was Jiang Fan's extraordinary skills. That blade, which seemed like a black lightning, did not slice through Jiang Fan's neck as they had imagined. On the contrary, Jiang Fan, gripping the black sword with both hands, easily blocked it. The clash of the two metals produced a resounding clang. The Black Lotus showed a hint of surprise immediately. Although she was furious, she had controlled her strength. Her strike, though not full force, was not something an ordinary disciple without a spirit root could block. She couldn't help but feel irritated. She had intended to kill to establish her power, but now she couldn't even kill a disciple without spirit root. How absurd! Let's see how many moves you can block. She leaned forward, and the tip of her scimitar stabbed fiercely towards Jiang Fan's face. Jiang Fan remained incredibly calm. He lowered his head to avoid the tip. At the same time, his black sword slanted and stabbed towards her chin, forcing the Black Lotus to retreat. Zhang Zumu snapped back to reality and immediately said excitedly, Quick, hurry over there. Jiang Fan can't hold out for many rounds. She never expected that Jiang Fan would be capable enough to be able to contend with the Black Lotus for 2 or 3 moves. If he could hold out a little longer, they might make it in time to rescue him. The Black Lotus's expression changed slightly. The recent exchange, while not involving any special moves, showcased Jiang Fan's genuine combat reaction. Jiang Fan's simple head lowering and sword raising. Without rich combat experience, it was impossible to do. Now the Black Lotus began to take Jiang Fan seriously, sizing him up and down. She said, You're pretty capable, but this is the end. She wielded the black scimitar, suddenly lifting her spiritual energy. However, before she could perform her technique, Jiang Fan took the initiative. Splitting light sword? Since the opponent underestimated him, Jiang Fan would not miss the opportunity. He lashed out with full force. Feeling the power of this sword, which was enough to kill any Foundation establishment ninth layer, the Black Lotus's expression changed dramatically. Only then did she realize that she had made a fatal mistake, underestimating the enemy. Damn it, wasn't Lu Xing the one who said this green cloud sect male disciple was a worthless one without a spirit root? No time to think further, she quickly raised her blade to block. Clang! The sound of metal clashing, accompanied by the thunderous roar of the sword move. The Black Lotus was forced back 2 steps by the impact. She had just thought of attacking after his sword move ended. Who knew Jiang Fan wouldn't stop at all? Another move followed closely. Sunrise over the sea. Immediately after, the third move came. Heaven and earth star fall. One powerful sword move after another, the Phoenix Lotus's hands trembled, almost unable to hold her scimitar. However, for the Black Lotus to be the leader of bandits, she was not an easy opponent. Seeing that she was about to be at a disadvantage, she moved her tongue inside her mouth, spitting out an iron bead hidden under her tongue towards Jiang Fan's face. The hidden weapon came without warning. It was both fast and urgent. By the time Jiang Fan noticed, the iron bead was already very close. It was unavoidable at this critical moment. He decisively pointed a finger. Purple energy comes from the east. Between his 2 fingers burst a powerful purple beam of light. It pierced through the iron bead in an instant. Bang! The iron bead exploded on the spot, scattering countless tiny iron hooks. If it exploded near a person, these hooks would embed into their flesh, causing excruciating pain. The purple beam of light continued unabated, grazing the Black Lotus's shoulder. The immense power startled the Black Lotus. At this moment, how could she not realize that the expert she was searching for was Jiang Fan right before her? The delight was that she had finally found the killer. The worry was that she might not be able to avenge her brothers, and just as she dodged this attack, Jiang Fan closed in again. The Black Lotus grew furious. Enough. You want to keep suppressing me? A dignified core formation expert being suppressed by a mere Foundation establishment 7th layer martial artist. Seizing the only gap, she decisively counterattacked. Black Shark Hidden Sea. Heaven and Earth Star Fall. Jiang Fan slashed out with his sword. One was a high-level, profound technique, the other was an earth-level technique. In the clash, they were evenly matched. The Black Lotus was shocked. Even when she executed her move, she couldn't overpower him. But as a bandit, her specialty was slaughter skills, of which techniques were only a part. In the midst of their exchange, she lifted her toe, kicking fiercely towards Jiang Fan's thigh. Under her boot's sole, a 1-inch steel needle emerged, covered in a purple-black hue. It was clearly laced with potent poison. Chapter 235. Chapter 235. Zhang Zumu's shocked Jiang Fan's eyes turned cold. Using hidden weapons again and again, he would not hold back any longer. He immediately let out a low shout, causing his blood and chi to surge, turning his entire body blood-red and emitting a large amount of white smoke. He looked like a steamed crab. In the instant, the opponent's hidden weapon attacked. He advanced instead of retreating, closing the distance between them. Then he suddenly spread his legs, causing Black Lotus's kick to miss. Black Lotus let out a cold laugh. Her toes followed the momentum upward, aiming directly at Jiang Fan's vital region. If it hit there, Jiang Fan would undoubtedly die, but who knew? Jiang Fan's legs, as fast as lightning, clamped down tightly. Crack, Black Lotus only felt like her ankle was being crushed between 2 colliding wild bulls. Incomparable strength instantly crushed her foot. Ah! Hiss! She let out a painful groan, followed by a scream. But she reacted extremely quickly. She swung her scimitar at Jiang Fan's neck. Jiang Fan decisively let go of her leg and retreated a few steps back. Black Lotus looked at her right foot, which had been crushed, and exclaimed in shock. You're a dual cultivator of both body and magic. It was one thing for him to have such refined spell cultivation, but his body techniques were also this amazing. Why are you asking so many questions? Jiang Fan did not waste words. He decisively charged with his sword. Against such a murderous core formation realm opponent, giving them a moment to breathe could mean his own death. Black Lotus's face turned vicious. Good, to force me to this point you can die without regret. She decisively dropped her black blade, stood up on her lame leg, facing the charging Jiang Fan. She raised her palms, a cruel look on her face, and struck viciously towards Jiang Fan from a distance. Ghost Shark Palm! In the instant, she released her strike. 2 black handprints as dark as ink blasted towards Jiang Fan. Zhang Zumu, who was rushing to arrive, saw the move and her pupils contracted. She shouted urgently, Jiang Fan dodged quickly. That's an earth-level palm technique, her heart pounded. Who could have thought that Black Lotus not only hid her core formation realm cultivation, but also concealed a deadly trump card, earth-level palm technique. The black blade and blade technique in her hands were merely to deceive others, to make enemies mistakenly think that the blade was her expertise, and overlook her true killing move. But this warning was already too late. 2 black handprints struck immediately. A smile appeared on Black Lotus's cruel face. She seemed to have already seen the scene of Jiang Fan's chest being pierced through. However, her face stiffened. Jang Fan also dropped his long sword, swiftly raised his palms, and said with a playful tone, "What a coincidence. I, too, am proficient in palm techniques." As soon as he finished speaking, he suddenly unleashed his palms, performing the final move he had mastered of the wandering dragon palm not long ago. Dragon destruction? He struck out with both palms. A dragon's roar powerful enough to hurt the eardrums emanated from his palms. An incredibly fierce fist force like a wandering dragon roared out. In an instant, the 2 black handprints traveling towards him were shattered. Then the dragon's force did not diminish, crashing heavily into Black Lotus's chest. Black Lotus's chest trembled. The clothes on her back tore apart with a ripping sound. She stood there dazed, with bright red blood constantly flowing from her mouth, her eyes filled with disbelief. This palm strike pierced through her chest and back, and shattered her heart directly. She couldn't believe that her always successful trump card, which had killed countless strong enemies, didn't work on the young man in front of her. On the contrary, she was killed by a single blow from him. How could this happen? Black Lotus lost her strength and collapsed to the ground with a thud. Jiang Fan picked up the black sword and walked over slowly. He said indifferently, "Not long ago, there was also someone who used a palm technique as their hidden trump card. Unfortunately, he lost to me." "Oh right, he was also in the core formation realm like you." "What?" Black Lotus was shocked. Before her, this young man had already defeated a core formation realm expert? She couldn't believe it. If given another chance, she was sure she could kill Jiang Fan. Until Jiang Fan mentioned that person's name. He was the top disciple of the Supreme Sect, called Xianxia. Him. Black Lotus struggled to lift her head, her eyes full of shock. The strongest male disciple of the Supreme Sect, core formation realm Xianxia. As a former disciple of the Supreme Sect, Black Lotus had always kept a close eye on the sect. She was well aware of Xianxia's information. This person was a dragon among men of the current era. His capabilities were unfathomable. Black Lotus admitted she could not defeat him, but he actually lost to the young man in front of her. The resentment in her heart receded like the tide, and she said bitterly, "In that case, I have no regrets losing." Jang Fan nodded. "So rest in peace." The sword rose and fell. A head flew off and rolled to the feet of Zhang Zumu, who had just arrived at the battlefield. She stared in a daze at Black Lotus's head. It felt like a dream. The infamous Black Lotus, killed by Jiang Fan, who had no spirit root, if she hadn't seen it with her own eyes. Even if her parents told her, she would think they were crazy to say such a ridiculous thing. Looking at Jiang Fan, who was leisurely wiping his black sword, all of Zhang Zumu's previous arrogance was gone. She lightly swallowed and cautiously stepped forward, respectfully greeting, "Junior brother Jiang." Jiang Fan asked in surprise, "Senior sister Zhang, didn't you leave? Why have you come back?" Zhang Zumu and the other female disciples suddenly felt embarrassed. Why did they come back? Of course, to save Jiang Fan, but who could have thought Jiang Fan would be so valiant? In the time they took to come over, he had easily dealt with Black Lotus. This made their rescue effort seem pointless. Zhang Zumu gave an awkward laugh. "Seeing that junior brother Jiang is fine, I feel relieved." Jiang Fan nodded. He sheathed his sword and said, "Let's continue on our way." "Wait. Junior brother Jiang, don't you want Black Lotus's head?" Zhang Zumu reminded. "She is wanted by both our Spirit Beast Sect and the Supreme Sect. The reward is quite valuable." "Oh, there's a reward." Jiang Fan asked in surprise, "What's the Spirit Beast Sect's reward?" Zhang Zumu showed a look of envy and said, "It's a whole bottle of Earth Phoenix grass marrow." At the mention of Earth Phoenix grass marrow, Chu Xingmeng exclaimed, "The Spirit Beast Sect is so generous. Our Supreme Sect only offers 10 mid-grade Foundation Establishment pills." Xinghe also looked surprised. "I heard Earth Phoenix grass marrow in your sect is a rare reward for only a few elite disciples. To actually offer it as a bounty." Zhang Zumu took out a cloth bag and put Black Lotus's head inside. She handed it to Jiang Fan, saying, "Black Lotus caused too much havoc. Several of our spirit beast sect disciples met their end at her hands. So the sect master was so furious that he increased the reward to a bottle of Earth Phoenix grass marrow. Even so, years have passed and no one succeeded in claiming the bounty. Congratulations, junior brother Jiang. Jiang Fan received it with emotion. Gong Kei had once given him 2 half bottles of Earth Phoenix grass juice. It was only effective for low and mid-tier foundation establishment realm cultivators. When reaching the late foundation establishment realm, its effect was minimal. But Earth Phoenix grass marrow was different, as it was a refined essence from large amounts of Earth Phoenix grass juice. Only elite disciples of the Spirit Beast sect could use it. It never circulated in the outside world. If he had a bottle of Earth Phoenix grass marrow, he could definitely break through to the 8th layer of foundation establishment. He almost missed it. Thinking of this, he looked at Black Lotus's corpse. As a bandit who had caused havoc for 10 years, she must have had many good things on her, right? Chapter 236. Chapter 236. Loss of status. He immediately stepped forward, but he didn't rashly search the body. Instead, he picked up the black curved blade of the Black Lotus. From a short distance away, he cautiously used the tip of the blade to open the Black Lotus's clothes. He narrowly jumped back. With a hiss, a blood-red venomous snake, the length of an index finger, suddenly lunged out and bit fiercely on the curved blade. The venom it spewed from its mouth corroded the mid-grade magic artifact, causing black smoke to rise. Jiang Fan acted quickly. The black blade shuddered, releasing a strong burst of sword chi, slicing the small venomous snake into 2. Everyone looked at the intense corrosion on the black blade, causing their scalps to tingle. The mid-grade magic artifact could corrode to such an extent, showing how potent the venom was. If they had rashly searched the body just now, the consequences would have been. Zhang Zumu felt a chill down her spine. Then she looked at Jiang Fan, not hiding her admiration. Jiang Fan was younger than her, but his vast experience made her feel ashamed. She somewhat understood why their master held Jiang Fan in such high regard. She couldn't help but mimic their master's tone, turning to educate the group of junior sisters behind her. Did you see? Learn from this. Be extremely cautious when out in the world from now on. Otherwise, you won't even know how you died. The junior sisters all nodded, looking at Jiang Fan with admiration. If it were them, they would have been tempted by the amazing relics possibly hidden on the Black Lotus and let down their guard, rashly searching the body. But despite Jiang Fan's immense strength, he still remained cautious. This deeply taught them a valuable lesson, one that would benefit them for life. Then, Jiang Fan made multiple attempts, thoroughly confirming that there were no other hidden weapons on her. Only then did he remove the items from her body. Most were some healing spiritual medicine and heavenly materials and earthly treasures unique to the mountains. Though valuable, they weren't of much use to him. Only one item caught his attention. It was a small wooden box wrapped in oil paper. Carefully opening it, Jiang Fan was startled. It was a crystal token with a face value of 10,000 crystals. Good heavens! Just how many people did she plunder over the years to amass so many crystals? He unceremoniously took it out. Only then did he notice. Under the crystal token was a palm-sized piece of cloth. When touched, it felt cool and silky. The material seemed like silk but had a metallic luster. The surface was blank. Jiang Fan's eyes showed a thoughtful look. If it was a useless piece of cloth, Black Lotus would not have placed it together with a 10,000 crystals token, right? For the time being, he had no leisure to study it, so he simply put it away. As for the rest, Jiang Fan looked at Zhang Zumu and the group of junior sisters, as well as Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng. The rest of these, you can split them among yourselves. Zhang Zumu was taken aback. Junior brother, these spiritual medicines and heavenly materials and earthly treasures are worth thousands of crystals. She had no idea that Jiang Fan had just pocketed a token worth 10,000 crystals. Besides, he already had several of them. Carrying these around was just a burden for him. Just split them, don't be polite. Zhang Zumu was overjoyed. She immediately divided them equally among the people present. Even so, everyone received wealth worth thousands of crystals each. Thank you, senior brother Jiang. Thank you, senior brother Jiang. Zhang Zumu was so delighted she couldn't close her mouth. Just after leaving the sect, she earned 1,000 crystals for free, higher than the reward for a level 2 mission. She increasingly understood why their master liked Jiang Fan so much. With a wave of his hand, he could give away 1,000 crystals. Who wouldn't like that? Xinghe also had a joyful expression, repeatedly bowing. Thank you, senior brother Jiang. Her beautiful eyes stared at Jiang Fan, sparkling with admiration. Handsome and dashing and incredibly skilled. Besides being skilled, he was also very generous. In comparison to Lu Xing, whom she had admired for a long time. She suddenly felt that her previous admiration for Lu Xinghe was due to her limited perspective. "You are too kind," Jang Fan smiled. He then turned to Zhang Zumu. "Senior sister Zhang, we shall part ways now." Zhang Zumu cupped her hands. "Take care." The two convoys walked in opposite directions. No one knew how long it had been. Lu Xing gradually woke up. Finding himself alone, he couldn't help but shiver. "I'm still alive. Where is Black Lotus?" After a long time, he calmed his nerves and headed towards the Spirit Beast Sect. No matter what, the attack on the team needed to be reported to the Spirit Beast Sect, to avoid being accused of embezzling the 3 carriage loads of supplies. But after walking for a short while, he suddenly spotted a headless corpse. Recognizing it immediately by its attire, he gasped. Black Lotus was killed. He remembered Black Lotus had come to settle accounts with the person who killed her subordinates. Instantly realizing, who on earth was that expert? Even Black Lotus could be killed. Having personally fought Black Lotus, he knew her true realm. She was genuinely at the core formation realm, and she was still slain. Thinking this, he shuddered and quickened his pace towards the Spirit Beast Sect. Traveling took him less than half a day. Before nightfall, he saw Jang Fan's convoy setting up camp. Overjoyed instantly. "Junior Sister Chin, Junior Sister Chu, are you both all right?" He looked at the two girls with surprise. Incredulous. Facing so many of Black Lotus's pirates, they came out unscathed. Then seeing Jiang Fan unscathed as well, he felt deflated. "You are also unharmed? Ha, what luck!" Chu Xingmeng sighed softly, not a hint of joy that he had returned alive. For the leader who fled during the battle and abandoned them to the bandits, she had no good feelings. Xinghe was also utterly disappointed in him. Bluntly said, "Senior brother Lu's luck is better, escaping from Black Lotus's pursuit. Impressive, truly impressive." Hearing the sarcasm in her words, Lu Xing felt embarrassed and defended himself. I was diverting Black Lotus. Otherwise, no matter how skilled that senior was, he couldn't have dealt with Black Lotus and all her subordinates at the same time. Maybe even he felt this defense was full of loopholes. He hurriedly changed the topic. "Where is that senior? Where is he? I need to thank him properly for saving you both." Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng each rolled their eyes but couldn't bother to respond to him. Lu Xing felt awkward. At that moment, his stomach growled. Exhausted for a day without a drop of water, his stomach was already shriveled with hunger. Seeing Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng by the campfire, each roasting a freshly caught rabbit. The golden-brown roasted rabbits, sizzling with oil, emitted a tempting aroma. He swallowed and said, "Junior sisters, could you share a bit with me?" Chu Xingmeng pretended not to hear, picked up the roasted rabbit, blew on it gently, and handed it to Jiang Fan. "Senior brother Jiang, you've worked the hardest. This is for you to eat." Lu Xing then looked at Xinghe, smiling. "Junior sister, give some to senior brother, I'm starving." Chu Xingmeng had her eyes on Jiang Fan all the time. Not giving him any was understandable. Junior sister had no good impression of Jiang Fan. She wouldn't give it to Jiang Fan either, right? To his surprise, as soon as he moved closer, Xinghe got up and sat beside Jiang Fan. With deep affection, she handed the rabbit to Jiang Fan's mouth. "Junior brother Jiang, I roasted this for you. Have a taste." Lu Xing couldn't believe it. He had only been gone for a day. How could junior sister also be favoring Jiang Fan? "Junior sister, why are you siding with an outsider?" Lu Xing complained. Xinghe gave him a glance, calmly saying, "Sorry, you are the outsider." After speaking, she tore off a piece of rabbit meat. Gently blowing to cool it, she handed it to Jiang Fan's mouth with a slightly coquettish tone. "Junior brother Jiang, give me some face." Lu Xing couldn't believe it. The gentle and coquettish female disciple before him was his once arrogant and snobbish junior sister, Jiang Fan. "What kind of beguilement did you give them?" Lu Xing shouted. Xinghe raised her brow, drew her sword, and demanded, "I won't allow you to speak to junior brother Jiang like that. If you are not satisfied, then leave the team. Without you, we would have a smoother journey." Although Chu Xingmeng remained silent, she showed the same attitude. If it weren't for Lu Xing's self-importance, not heeding Jiang Fan's advice, and insisting on entering the mountains, they wouldn't have encountered any danger in the first place. Now that he had barely survived, he still wanted to act as the leader of the team. Who would respect him? Seeing junior sister Qin's aggressive stance towards him, Lu Xing felt both angry and furious. Pointing at Jiang Fan repeatedly, he said, "Fine, fine, so you want to play the hero, want to be the leader, right? Let's see how you explain yourself when we reach the Spirit Beast Sect. I'm telling you, dealing with disciples from the Spirit Beast Sect isn't easy. Without my acquaintances there to vouch, don't expect these 3 carriages of spiritual medicine to be smoothly received. Chapter 237. Chapter 237 Difficulties. Xinghe frowned. Where there are people, there are social intricacies. It is the same for any sect. They had successfully escorted the spiritual medicine. However, during the handover of the spiritual medicine, it was difficult to guarantee that the other party wouldn't leverage the situation for their own benefit. If the handover failed, the mission would be considered incomplete. Not only would they not earn merit points, but it would also delay their next mission. Many disciples from the Myriad Sword sect had discussed this matter earlier. They all felt it was unavoidable. Previously, she wasn't worried about this. Because Lu Xing had a cousin in the Spirit Beast sect, it was said that she held a high position. If she intervened, the handover would be very smooth. Now, thinking of this, she smiled again, holding up a roasted rabbit, and said with a cheerful smile, "Senior brother, I was just joking. Why are you taking it so seriously? We'll still need your help during the handover." She glanced at Jiang Fan out of the corner of her eye, feeling that she could finally repay Jiang Fan a bit, but this subtle look was caught by Lu Xing. He became furious instantly. He slapped the roasted rabbit away, shouting, "What benefits did Jiang Fan give you to make you so devoted? You even begged me to help him." He himself had never received such treatment. "Why should Jang Fan?" He said venomously. "Surname Jiang, don't think I'll use my connections to help you. I want to see how you make a fool of yourself." Jiang Fan waved his sleeve, brushing away the spittle that had flown to his face. Frowning, he said, "That's not something you need to worry about. Who doesn't know a person or two in the Spirit Beast sect?" Upon learning that Jiang Fan had connections in the Spirit Beast sect, Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng's eyes lit up. But then they thought, could the person Jiang Fan mentioned be Zhang Zumu, but she had already left. Lu Xinghe sneered, "A rootless person like you, who could you possibly know? Those who handle the handover are all elites from the Spirit Beast sect. Not anyone can have a say." Jiang Fan smiled gently. Would Gong Kei be considered a nobody? Several days later, Jiang Fan and his companions, weary from travel, arrived at the Spirit Beast sect. Within the sect, mist lingered, with pavilions and towers appearing and disappearing. Occasionally, female disciples in colorful attire would fleetingly appear in the mist. There was an ethereal sense of a fairyland. Chu Xingmeng's beautiful eyes sparkled. "I've long heard that the Spirit Beast sect is a paradise. Now seeing it in person, the reputation is well-deserved." Xinghe also showed a look of envy and said, "The Spirit Beast sect trains demon beasts to fight alongside them. Although a disciple's strength might not be strong with their demon beast, they often can surpass those of the same level. Among the 9 sect, they are unique. I wanted to join the Spirit Beast sect back then, but unfortunately I didn't have the talent to train demon beasts and couldn't enter the sect." Hearing the 2 women's longing, Lu Xing rudely interrupted them. "Stop dreaming. Let's deal with the handover first." He sat on a spirit beast, hands tucked in his sleeves, an aloof stance showing no intention to help. Jang Fan calmly drove the carriage, entering the gates of the Spirit Beast sect. "Who goes there?" Outside the gate, a group of strong disciples guarded it. With cultivation ranging from Foundation Establishment 6th layer to Foundation Establishment 8th layer, each dressed in colorful attire making a splendid sight. But their faces were not friendly, especially when they noticed the cart they were escorting, suspecting it was part of a mission. Their faces turned stern, showing they were not easy to deal with. Jiang Fan cupped his hands and said, "We are here to deliver spiritual medicine. Please have your sect verify the goods." Among the female disciples, one with a phoenix hairpin, dignified features, and an air of authority stepped forward. She looked about 20. Her cultivation was the highest among them at Foundation Establishment 8th layer. Spirit Beast Sect, Song Biyao, in charge of welcoming teams from other sects. Please show your task Jade Scrolls. Seeing her and the other female disciples' expressions, even the simple-minded Chu Xingmeng could tell that the handover wouldn't go smoothly. Jiang Fan calmly handed over the task Jade Scrolls to her. Song Biyao took the 4 Jade Scrolls, reviewed the contents, and subtly curled her lips. Third-level task. Low-level tasks are naturally handled by disciples with lower cultivation, who barely have any wealth. But thinking that even a mosquito's leg is meat, she nodded and said, "The Jade Scroll indicates its medicine for 3,000 spirit beasts. Wenjun Xiangyang, check the 3 wagons of spiritual medicine to see if they are complete and undamaged." 2 capable female disciples immediately opened the wagons, rudely throwing the sacks of spiritual medicine onto the ground. Xinghe and Xinghe quietly worried. The spiritual medicine inside the sacks was individually wrapped in paper. Throwing them so roughly could easily cause the paper to tear and spill. At that point, it would be hard to tell whether the damage was due to their poor escort or the rough handling. Xinghe watched leisurely with a mocking expression. He wanted to see how Jiang Fan would handle it. He would definitely bow and scrape, say some nice words, and then that senior sister Song Biyao would take the opportunity to scold him. Jang Fan would then obediently hand over some crystal stone, begging them to be lenient, like a wronged little wife. Thinking of that scene, Xinghe was quite looking forward to it. What stunned him was, Jiang Fan wasn't anxious at all, watching their violent inspection quite leisurely. This made Song Biyao realize something was off. Could the team leader be familiar with someone in the sect? To avoid kicking an iron plate, she said in an official tone, "Additionally, hand over your identity tokens for registration." She wanted to check if there was anyone important among the four. A female disciple came forward, collected their identity tokens, and handed them to Song Biyao for registration. "Supreme Sect, Xinghe," she muttered, expressionless. The Supreme Sect was certainly renowned, one of the top 3 powerful sects. But this was the Spirit Beast Sect's territory. They wouldn't be easily intimidated. "Myriad Sword Sect, Xinghe?" She still showed no reaction. The Myriad Sword Sect wasn't as well known as the Supreme Sect, until she read the third name. "Myriad Sword Sect Xinghe?" Song Biyao showed a hint of surprise. "Your senior sister Liangxing's cousin, right? Aren't you at Foundation Establishment 7th layer? Why are you doing a 3rd-level task?" Xinghe jumped off the spirit beast, smiling and cupping his hands. "Senior sister Song, you actually know me." Because of her good relationship with Liangxing, Song Biyao smiled. "Your cousin often talks about you. She says you are exceptionally talented with a bright future." Xinghe replied, "My cousin flatters me. Sister Song, please don't take it too seriously," since he was the cousin of an acquaintance. Song Biyao decided not to make it difficult for them, waving at the 2 female disciples inspecting the goods. "They're one of us, so no need to be too thorough, just count the quantities." Hearing this, Xinghe and Xinghe took a breath of relief. They were in the clear. In the end, it still came down to Xinghe's connections. "Thank you, senior sister, for your leniency." Xinghe took out a bag of crystal stones, handing it to her. "The weather is hot. Buy some spiritual tea for the sisters to drink." Song Biyao showed a look of approval. "No wonder your cousin is so fond of you. You're not only adept in the martial path, but also in social matters." Saying this, she frowned slightly at Jiang Fan. "But with you in the team, why is he the team leader?" She thought Jiang Fan remained calm because he had some significant status. In the end, he was relying on Xinghe. Xinghe, feeling vindicated, finally had a chance to vent his frustration. He said in a mocking tone, "He's quite skilled." With just a few words, he had the 2 junior sisters eating out of his hand and accept him as the leader. Since he likes being the leader, let him have it. Finding out that Jiang Fan relied on charming girls to supplant Xinghe, Song Biyao became disdainful. "Is he from the Desire Sect? Disciples from the Desire Sect are good at charming girls." Xinghe laughed heartily, eager to expose Jiang Fan's secret. "He's more skillful than disciples of the Desire Sect, because he's a disciple of the sect master of the Green Cloud Sect named Jiang Fan," expecting Song Biyao to immediately think of the rootless rumors. To his surprise, Song Biyao paused and then chuckled. "Wait a minute, what did you say his name was?" "Jiang Fan." Chapter 238. Chapter 238. Jiang Fan's face looking at Song Biao's strange reaction. Xinghe said in surprise, "Yes, that Jiang Fan with no spirit root." Song Biyao couldn't believe it. She hurriedly picked up the last identity token, looked at it again, and exclaimed, "It's really Jiang Fan from the Green Cloud Sect. Junior sisters, come quickly. This is junior brother Jiang Fan." A few female disciples immediately gathered around with curious expressions. They looked at the identity token, then at Jiang Fan, whispering while scrutinizing him. "Wow, so this is Jiang Fan, the one junior sister Yuan can't forget. Ever since she came back from the Green Cloud Sect, she's been like she's lost her soul." She sighs and murmurs Jiang Fan's name while cultivating, and even when practicing swords, she sighs and murmurs his name. For the past month, she hasn't seriously practiced, always thinking about Jiang Fan like she's possessed. No wonder junior sister Yuan is so infatuated. Jiang Fan is quite handsome. With such good looks, who wouldn't be captivated? Jiang Fan touched his nose. The junior sister Yuan they mentioned should be Yuan Jiu, who went to the Green Cloud sect with Gong Kei, right? Besides, they must have misunderstood Yuan Jiu. She wasn't infatuated. She was struck by Jiang Fan's various talents and felt defeated. That's why she couldn't muster the energy for anything. Junior sisters, you've misunderstood. There's nothing between junior sister Yuan and me, Jiang Fan explained. Song Biyao covered her mouth and giggled. Yes, yes, we understand, we all understand. You understand nothing. Jiang Fan was speechless. This master and disciple pair, can't they do something good? One creates hatred for him. The other spreads rumors about him. He was fed up with the two of them. Jiang Fan didn't want to stay any longer, so he quickly finished his task. After exchanging the Black Lotus bounty, he immediately left. Who knows what more outrageous rumors would spread in the Spirit Beast sect if he stayed longer. He changed the topic, cupped his hands and said, "Ladies, please finish counting the goods quickly. This junior brother has important matters to attend to." Seeing his embarrassed look, wanting to flee, Song Biyao and the others found it even more amusing and laughed quietly. Song Biao's eyes were full of smiles, saying, "Since it's the spiritual medicine personally escorted by junior brother Jiang, why check? You all, sign for the spiritual medicine. Don't delay junior brother Jiang's important matters." She deliberately emphasized the last three words. The implication was that Jiang Fan was eager to find his sweetheart, Yuan Jiu. The female disciples laughed so hard that their eyes turned into slits and quickly signed for the goods. Only then did Song Biyao return the mission Jade Scroll to Jiang Fan and said seriously, "Congratulations, junior brother Jiang, the task is completed. Your task has been officially recorded by our sect. At the end of the month, the Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion will compile the number of tasks you've completed based on the records, tallying the merit points." Jiang Fan nodded slightly and said, "Thank you, senior sister Song." Song Biyao smiled again. "If we had known it was you, we wouldn't have made it difficult for you." Senior sister had no choice. Our Spirit Beast sects teams were harassed by other sects. So we thought of making it difficult for others to make up for the losses. Unexpectedly, we met you guys. After thinking for a moment, she took out the bag of crystal stones from Lu Xing. She casually threw it to him, saying, "Since it's junior brother Jiang's team, we can't take these crystal stones." Lu Xing was dumbfounded. He stared blankly at the money bag. Jiang Fan actually solved the delivery problem with his connections, and Lu Xing owed Jiang Fan, the team leader, a favor. This made him extremely frustrated, what made him even angrier. Xinghe gloated and mocked. "Senior brother Lu, wasn't I and junior sister Chu right? Whether you're in the team or not makes no difference." "Oh, sorry, I misspoke. With you, it's even more troublesome." How could Lu Xing bear this? He strode over, raised his hand, and slapped her, shouting, "You ungrateful wretch! Deserve a beating." Xinghe was only at the 5th layer of foundation establishment, no match for Lu Xing at the 7th layer. Her face changed abruptly and she hurriedly retreated. In her haste, she stumbled and fell. Just as she was about to hit the ground, Jiang Fan stepped forward and caught her. He frowned and looked at Lu Xing. "Haven't you had enough trouble along the way?" Being self-righteous, causing the team to fall into the Black Lotus bandits' trap was bad enough. Instead of striving to make amends, helping the team complete the delivery, he jabbered sarcastically. Now he's even attacking his own people. Lu Xing was already furious and became even angrier when Jiang Fan intervened. What infuriated him the most wasn't Xinghe's taunting. It was that his junior sisters sided with an outsider like Jiang Fan. Now Jiang Fan was stepping in, making him uncontrollably angry, focusing his rage on Jiang Fan. "You worthless fool playing the good guy? Do you think sweet talk can put you above me? I'll show you what matters in the martial path realm." He switched to a fist. Savagely, he punched Jiang Fan's chest, shouting, "Remember this. In the martial path realm, fists matter." He made such a sudden move. Song Biyao and the female disciples in the distance didn't have time to react. They hurriedly tried to stop him. But what puzzled Song Biyao was, Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng remained exceptionally calm, not panicking at all. Lu Xing was genuinely a 7th layer foundation establishment powerhouse, while Jiang Fan had no spirit root. How could he block Lu Xing's punch? But then, Song Biyao saw an unbelievable scene. Jiang Fan didn't even circulate any spiritual energy and casually slapped out a palm. As strong as Lu Xing at the 7th layer of foundation establishment, he was like a sack filled with cotton. With a thud, he was lightly slapped 3 to 4 feet away, heavily hitting the mountain gate's stone pillar. Thunk. Lu Xing, severely hit, spat out a mouthful of blood on the spot. His face quickly turned pale. He looked at Jiang Fan in disbelief. You practice the body technique." Jiang Fan coldly replied, "Your fist isn't anything special either. With such skills, you dare teach others how to be in the martial path realm." Xinghe felt immense humiliation. Slapped the ground with both hands, about to charge again, he shouted, "I didn't even use my full strength." "Stop," Biyao rebuked, flashing to block him. She coldly said, "Fighting at the Spirit Beast Sect's mountain gate. You're too presumptuous. Do you think with your cousin's backing you can do whatever you want?" Xinghe shuddered, immediately calmed down. No sect allows outer sect disciples to fight at the mountain gate. He hurriedly apologized. "I'm sorry, senior sister Song, I was too impulsive." Considering his cousin, Biyao didn't make it hard for him, coldly saying, "Don't let it happen again." Xinghe felt aggrieved. But having suffered those losses, how could he let it go? He immediately left, heading into the Spirit Beast Sect. Biyao frowned. She looked at Jiang Fan with some worry, saying, "Junior brother Jiang, if there's nothing else, leave quickly. I think he's going to find his cousin Lineage to step in. Senior sister Yi and junior sister Yuan don't get along. She probably won't listen to reason. Better leave quickly." Hearing this, Jiang Fan felt somewhat helpless. He didn't want to make enemies for no reason, but he still had a bounty to redeem. That was a bottle of Earth Phoenix grass marrow. It could help him break through to the 8th layer of Foundation establishment. How could he miss it? "Thank you, senior sister Song, but on my way here I completed one of your sect's bounties." "Where can I redeem the bounty?" Biyao was puzzled. When did the Spirit Beast Sect have a bounty task? The last bounty was several years ago, and it wasn't something a disciple could accomplish. Chapter 239. Chapter 239. Astonishing reward mission. Biyao had a mind to ask what the bounty was. But there were many people around, and she worried that if she asked, it might reveal Jiang Fan's situation and provoke envy. So she only tentatively asked, "Is the bounty reward high?" The implication being, if it's not high, then forget it. To avoid encountering Lineage. Jiang Fan weighed the bundle containing the Black Lotus head and said, "Not bad." Seeing Jiang Fan determined to enter the Spirit Beast Sect, Biyao could not stop him any further. "All right, Wenjun, you take junior brother Jiang to the task hall. Xiangyang, you go inform junior sister Yuan that Jiang Fan has arrived." Biyao was a close friend of Lineage and a hometown companion of junior sister Yuan. It was difficult for her to help either side, so she chose not to help either. Jiang Fan expressed his thanks and, along with the two women, followed the female disciple named Wenjun into the Spirit Beast Sect. Before long, "Junior brother Jiang, up ahead is the task hall. I will not accompany you further." As she was a person of Biyao, naturally, she too had to remain impartial like Biyao. Jiang Fan clasped his hands in thanks. He couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Sects with many women truly had many small cliques. "Please wait for me, junior sisters, I'll be right back." Jiang Fan stepped into the task hall. He found quite a few people, all female disciples of the Spirit Beast Sect dressed in colorful clothes. They were all there to hand in the sect's regular tasks. Seeing a male disciple from the outer sect, they all showed surprise. "How can there be an outer sect disciple in our task hall? When did our sect offer bounties to outsiders? Did he enter the wrong place?" Facing the stares of the female disciples, Jiang Fan remained calm and lined up at the end of the queue. After a cup of tea's time, the female disciples in the front of the line finally finished submitting their tasks. As it was Jiang Fan's turn to step forward, suddenly, 3 female disciples entered from outside the hall. The one in the lead had fair skin, was tall, and had an air of cold aloofness. As she walked, the female disciples in the hall made way for her. No one dared to block her path. She walked straight to the task counter. She then noticed a male disciple in outer sect attire present and furrowed her brows. "Who are you? What are you doing in our task hall?" Jiang Fan glanced at this imposing female disciple and briefly said, "Submitting a task." Saying this, he placed the bundle on the counter. He addressed the deacon responsible. "Deacon, please check this first." The stoic woman's 2 female attendants frowned. One of the pretty female disciples spoke discontentedly. "Step aside and wait until our senior sister finishes submitting her task." As she stepped forward to push him away, the stoic woman glanced at the bundle Jiang Fan submitted, faintly seeing blood seeping out. She couldn't help but be curious. Could this be a human head? When did the Spirit Beast Sect issue a task to hunt a human head? Out of curiosity, she stopped her attendant. "Do not be rude. Remember to maintain your image in front of an outer sect disciple," although she was domineering within the sect. With an outsider present, she had to be mindful to avoid giving the impression that spirit beast sect's female disciples were domineering. The rebuked female disciple reluctantly stepped back. In a room full of female disciples, all cast curious glances at the bundle. Even the deacon showed an expression of surprise. "This outer sect disciple, are you sure this is our sect's task item?" As the deacon of the task hall, she knew the spirit beast sect tasks thoroughly. They were mostly about finding various beast eggs, young beasts, or heavenly materials and earthly treasures related to spirit beasts. When did they start requesting human heads? Jiang Fan said, "The deacon will know upon inspection." Hearing this, the deacon grew more puzzled. With suspicion, she opened the bundle. An eyes wide open, blood-stained human head with a grimace appeared, despite being mentally prepared. Several female disciples screamed in shock. "It really is a human head. Whose head is this? When did our sect start requesting human heads?" The deacon also showed great surprise and could not help but step back a little. It took her some time to calm down and examine the head's appearance. The longer she looked, the more familiar it appeared. She immediately pulled out a yellowed task book from the corner. It contained all the various tasks over the years with detailed descriptions and illustrations. She flipped through it for a while. Finally, she found an illustration with a human face. Comparing it to the head in front of her, she was shocked. "This task actually exists. Let me check the specifics of the task." The stoic woman and many female disciples were equally astonished. When had the sect issued such a task? Why did they have no memory of it? Thinking deeply, the stoic woman suddenly recalled a task from several years ago. That was to exterminate the Black Lotus bandits entrenched at the spirit beast sect's border. But once issued, no one took up the task. Eventually, it was forgotten by people. But those were the Black Lotus bandits. Even a slightly weaker elder would struggle alone with them. How old was Jiang Fan? He was just a new disciple. How could he kill the Black Lotus? Yet the deacon, after examining the task details, exclaimed loudly, "Oh my! This is the spirit beast sect's #1 task." Learning it was the #1 task, the female disciples in the task hall were all astounded. The #1 task, our spirit beast sect has only had 3 #1 tasks in the past decade. Did I hear right? Isn't the #1 task something only an elder can complete? This outer sect disciple, can he complete a #1 task? The stoic woman's beautiful eyes trembled as she quickly stepped forward and asked, "Is this task about exterminating the Black Lotus bandits?" The deacon's voice became excited. "Yes, it's the Black Lotus bounty order. It's been 5 years and someone finally completed it," realizing it was indeed the Black Lotus bounty order. The stoic woman looked incredulously at Jiang Fan and asked, "This, junior brother, may I ask which master's disciple you are?" Jiang Fan didn't want his reputation to cause trouble. He said, "Green Cloud Sect, surname Jiang." Then he urged, "Please, deacon, verify the task item quickly." The deacon recovered and meticulously checked the head again. After thorough comparison, she showed joy. "This is indeed the head of Black Lotus." According to the task requirement, bringing the head of Black Lotus counts as completing the task. "You have perfectly completed the task." However, the deacon showed an apologetic expression. "The rewards for the Black Lotus bounty order are very valuable. We need the sect master's permission to issue them. Please wait a moment, outer sect guest, while I report to sect master." This would even alert Gong Kei. He was somewhat afraid to face this extremely enthusiastic sect master. But as it was the rule, he had to comply. Sweeping around, he prepared to find a place to sit. The stoic woman smiled. "Hua Yun, get a seat for junior brother Jiang, will you?" Upon hearing this, the faded-haired female disciple quickly brought 2 stools. She respectfully gave one to Jiang Fan and one to the stoic woman. "Please sit, junior brother Jiang." The stoic woman sat down, eyes full of curiosity. "I heard that Black Lotus was a powerful martial artist at the 9th Layer Foundation establishment, yet junior brother Jiang managed to kill her." Jiang Fan casually sat down and humbly said, "Just luck." Luck. The stoic woman also thought that Jiang Fan might have been lucky. She considered that facing a heavily injured Black Lotus, even with her cultivation at the 8th Layer Foundation establishment, she could kill her. After all, the gap between the 8th and 9th layers was not that big. Jang Fan most likely took advantage of such a situation. Thus, she probed, "Junior brother Jiang is modest, but senior sister wants to know if the fight with Black Lotus was dangerous." Female disciples around also looked curiously. They all wanted to know how strong Black Lotus's combat power was, but Jiang Fan remained concise. "Not really, the process was quite smooth." Smooth? The stoic woman became even more convinced that Jiang Fan had taken advantage. Black Lotus's ferocity was something one could imagine with even a toe. Killing her should have been extremely difficult. Thinking it was smooth, Black Lotus must have been severely injured or already dead, and he just cut off her head to take advantage. Thinking this, she couldn't help but feel a bit jealous. It's unbelievable how some people could be so lucky to take advantage of such a massive opportunity. At this moment, a pigeon suddenly flew in, carrying a note in its beak, which it placed on the deacon's counter before flying away. None of the female disciples dared to read it casually. The stoic woman, being used to acting strong, said, "It's probably a message from the disciple who is traveling outside to the deacon." "Let me see." She casually took it, opened it, and showed a surprising look. "It's from senior sister Zhang Zumu. It's about the Black Lotus bandits." However, when she read the contents clearly, it was as if she were struck by lightning. She suddenly stood up from the chair. Her beautiful eyes stared in horror at the youth sitting beside her. That calm and composed figure. Chapter 240. Chapter 240. Not even qualified to spar the unbecoming behavior caused many of the female disciples to be astonished. Hua Yun, who was beside him, craned her neck to look at the contents of the note, muttering, "On the 3rd day of the 9th month in the Xinghe year, while passing through the Black Wind Mountain range at the border, we encountered the Black Lotus bandit leader. To my surprise, I discovered her strength had reached the core formation realm. Fortunately, Jiang Fan, a disciple of the Green Cloud Sect, intervened and single-handedly beheaded her with his sword, ensuring our safety. That night, as we crossed the mountain range, we found the bodies of 8 remaining Black Lotus bandits, presumably slain by junior brother Jiang Fan. Thus, the entire Black Lotus bandits were annihilated. I hope the task hall takes note and prepares the reward for junior brother Jiang Fan." After reading out loud, Hua Yun herself was stunned, staring at the note without blinking. The female disciples in the hall were also utterly dumbfounded. Their minds were echoing with the concise yet explosive content. The Black Lotus was not at the 9th layer of foundation establishment, but in the core formation realm, and it wasn't because she had sustained grave injuries or had died before her head was severed. Rather, it was Jiang Fan alone who beheaded her. They stared blankly at Jiang Fan, their eyes filled with the same astonishment as the aloof woman. "You, junior brother Jiang, you can slay someone in the core formation realm?" the aloof woman stammered. Jiang Fan was speechless. Zhang Zumu's carrier pigeon message could not have come sooner or later. It just had to appear in front of so many people. He had no way to respond and pretended not to hear, silently meditating. The aloof woman then realized that she had asked a very offensive question. The carrier pigeon message had already made it clear. Asking again would seem like doubting it. She quickly went to the counter, poured a cup of spiritual tea, and brought it over. "Junior brother Jiang, have some tea to moisten your throat." This scene gave the female disciples present a sense of absurdity. This aloof woman was famously arrogant and cold in the sect. Except for the elders and the sect master, she showed no good face to anyone. Yet she took the initiative to serve tea to appear. It was truly unprecedented. With the other party being so polite, Jiang Fan naturally could not put on airs and accepted the tea with both hands. "Thank you, senior sister." The aloof woman's eyes were filled with intense curiosity. "May I ask, junior brother Jiang, how did you slay the Black Lotus? Can you share with us?" Seeing the female disciples looking at him with eager eyes as if listening to a story, Jiang Fan couldn't help but laugh and cry. "In a life-and-death struggle, it only takes a few moves. There isn't much to tell." The aloof woman deeply agreed. A true expert duel does not resemble an ordinary spar going back and forth. Usually, the battle is resolved in just a few exchanges. If one side shows a flaw, it results in a tragic end of either death or severe injury. However, such a light statement obviously did not satisfy her curiosity. After a brief thought, she volunteered. "Junior brother Jiang, senior sister is not talented, but I would like to ask for your guidance in a few slaughter techniques." Looking at Jiang Fan, who was obviously much younger than herself, she still had some unwillingness deep in her heart. It was still hard for her to believe that Jiang Fan could kill the Black Lotus in peak condition. Could it be that the Black Lotus had bad luck and something went wrong during the battle? Jiang Fan said, "Senior sister is too polite. It's not about any slaughter techniques. I was just lucky, and my cultivation technique happened to restrain her." The aloof woman would not give up so easily. Junior brother Jiang looks down on our spirit beast sect's cultivation techniques. Although our main focus is on combat dharma methods that cooperate with spiritual beasts, it doesn't mean our cultivation techniques are weak. Jang Fan understood. It seemed she wanted to compete with him. If he didn't let her give up, she would continue to pester him. And the deacon who had just left, who knew when he would return. To avoid entanglement, he slightly nodded. Okay, then with senior sister. He suddenly realized that the aloof woman came empty-handed. She didn't bring her combat spirit pet. This meant that her true strength couldn't be fully displayed. So he changed his tone. How about this? I'll first display a set of cultivation techniques. If senior sister thinks she can handle a few moves, then it won't be too late for the spar. This made the aloof woman feel slighted. She was an 8th-layer martial artist of foundation establishment, needing to evaluate herself before sparring with someone. She showed a hint of displeasure. Junior brother really looks down on our spirit beast sect. The surrounding female disciples of the spirit beast sect also noticed this. They all cast unfriendly glances. Isn't he being too arrogant? We don't even know exactly how he killed the Black Lotus. Maybe it was luck, yet he's so arrogant. Senior sister is showing him face. That's why he's looking down on senior sister and our spirit beast sect. Jiang Fan acted as if he hadn't heard. He got up and walked to the center of the hall and without a word directly demonstrated the wandering dragon palm. Shocking dragon. Dragon control. 2 consecutive punches caused the air to tremble. Faint dragon roars could be heard. The noisy hall suddenly became quiet. Everyone was shocked by the power of this palm technique. It seems quite impressive. The power of this palm technique is almost at the level of an earth-level technique. No wonder he's so confident. Senior sister might really not be able to withstand it. The aloof woman frowned slightly. She whispered, indeed powerful, but it doesn't seem unbeatable. Until Jiang Fan executed the most powerful move. Dragon destruction! Roar, a loud dragon roar shook the disciples' bodies. The powerful punch winds whipped up whirlwinds. The skirts of the nearby female disciples flew, their hair wildly danced, and they screamed in unison. The aloof woman was greatly shocked. This palm technique had the power of at least an earth-level technique. There was no way she could handle it. No wonder Jiang Fan asked her to first look at his cultivation techniques. But this wasn't the end. After finishing the palm technique, Jiang Fan used a weapon, drawing the black sword, and performed sword heart engraving. This was an authentic earth-level technique. Just the first sword technique, splitting light sword, caused a powerful explosion that made the aloof woman's body tremble. She knew that if she faced this sword technique, she would definitely be knocked to the ground. The subsequent 2 sword techniques were each stronger than the last. Especially the final technique. Heaven and earth star fall, just the terrifying momentum made her heart pound wildly, let alone withstand the explosive sword chi. She clutched her wildly beating heart, cold sweat trickling down her forehead. In her heart, there was no longer any thought that Jiang Fan had killed the Black Lotus by luck, nor did she have any intention of sparring with him. With this kind of strength, she couldn't handle even one move. The most terrifying thing was, Jiang Fan sheathed his sword and said, "Are there any other cultivation techniques that senior sister would like to try?" No. The aloof woman quickly declined. She couldn't withstand the previous ones, let alone the ultimate techniques. She finally understood Jiang Fan was not arrogant. It was just that the difference in their strength was too great. A so-called simulated battle could end up seriously injuring or even killing her. So Jiang Fan had demonstrated some of his techniques to give her a sense of the gap. Thinking of this, her face flushed with embarrassment. She had been pressing him for slaughter techniques. Now she didn't even have the courage to fight. She awkwardly said, "Junior brother Jiang's strength is unparalleled. I won't show off." She quickly changed the topic, picking up Jiang Fan's tea and handing it to him, saying, "Junior brother Jiang must be tired. Have some tea." This was the best scenario. Jiang Fan was happy to oblige. He was about to accept the tea, but from outside the hall came urgent scolding. The person was not yet present, but the voice had already arrived. "Yi Liangxing, come at me if you have an issue." The person coming was none other than Yuan Jiyu, who was rushing over anxiously. Knowing Jiang Fan had come to the Spirit Beast sect, she was naturally delighted. But upon learning that Jiang Fan had disciplined Yi Liangxing's cousin and then came to the task hall, she hurriedly rushed over, because she knew today was the monthly task submission day at the Spirit Beast sect. Yi Liangxing would definitely go to the task hall. There was a chance they might bump into each other, so she rushed all the way. But just as she burst into the main hall, she was met with an astonishing scene. Chapter 241. Chapter 241, complaining Liangxing, the Liangxing who was always so high and mighty, was actually serving tea to Jiang Fan? She felt a moment of disorientation, wondering if there was some kind of mistake. Other than her own master, Liangxing probably wouldn't show such respect to anyone. She walked in with suspicion, warily staring at Liangxing and said, "You didn't put anything dirty in this tea, did you?" Liangxing and Yuan Jiu had always been at odds. Now she was politely serving tea to Jiang Fan, hoping to gain his favor and make a friend. Yuan Jiu jumped in to question the tea's integrity. Who wouldn't be furious? "Yuan Jiu," Liangxing shouted, "Junior brother Jiang is present, so I won't argue with you today. But you'd better watch your words or don't blame me for being rude." Jiang Fan was taken aback for a moment. From their interactions, it seemed like the two women didn't get along very well. He took the tea and drank a sip in front of Yuan Jiu, trying to defuse the situation, and said, "Senior sister Yuan, you've misunderstood. This senior sister was just kindly pouring me a cup of tea." Kindly pouring tea? Yuan Jiu couldn't see a shred of kindness in Liangxing. She warned, "Junior brother Jiang, you're new to the spirit beast sect and don't know what kind of a tyrant this senior sister is in the sect. She's like a fox celebrating the new year with chickens. Don't trust her." Liangxing clenched her fists tightly. She looked ready to fight Yuan Jiu. She was trying to befriend Jiang Fan, but Yuan Jiu was revealing her true nature. However, she noticed that Yuan Jiu and Jiang Fan seemed to know each other, and they seemed to be quite familiar with each other. This made her hesitant to act rashly. She turned to Jiang Fan with a wronged expression and said, "I did not, junior brother Jiang, don't believe her lies." Yuan Jiu countered, "It's your words that can't be trusted." Liangxing struggled to control her anger and said, "Do you think you're any less tyrannical? How dare you accuse others?" Yuan Jiu retorted, "Not as arrogant as you. You're the arrogant one." "No, you are." The many female disciples in the hall watched blankly as the two argued. They were stunned. The two women, who were usually so domineering in the sect, were now fiercely arguing over Jiang Fan's trust. After a moment of shock, neither of them could make a compelling argument. Yuan Jiu said angrily, "Junior brother Jiang, do you believe her or me?" Liangxing also said, "Junior brother Jiang, since you arrived at the task hall, have I ever treated you poorly? Are my words not trustworthy?" Both of them looked intensely at Jiang Fan, putting him in a tough spot. Just then, a female disciple hurriedly ran to Liangxing and whispered, "Senior sister, your cousin is here. He's looking for you all over the sect." Lu Xing. Liangxing's delicate brows furrowed. Why did he have to come at this moment? She was at a critical moment in gaining Jiang Fan's trust over Yuan Jiu. But Lu Xinghe seemed to be in a hurry and couldn't be ignored. She reluctantly said to Jiang Fan, "Junior brother Jiang, senior sister has something to attend to and will be right back." With that, she hurriedly left. Yuan Jiu finally smiled, revealing her white teeth. "Junior brother Jiang, long time no see?" She looked at Jiang Fan with a smile, noticing that after just a month, Jiang Fan had completely transformed. His skin was fair and flawless like polished jade without a single blemish. She couldn't help but feel a tinge of jealousy, teasing, "No wonder junior brother Jiang can make that proud woman serve you tea." Jiang Fan rolled his eyes. Didn't he have enough rumors already? "What brings you here, senior sister Yuan?" Jiang Fan asked. Yuan Jiu said, "Isn't it because I was worried about you? I heard you provoked Liangxing's cousin. I was afraid you'd get into trouble. Who knew I was overthinking it? Junior brother Jiang conquered her with just one look." "Wait." Jiang Fan was taken aback for a moment and said, "Was that really senior sister Liangxing just now?" Yuan Jiu was even more surprised. "What, you didn't know who she was?" So all this while she was the reinforcement brought by Lu Xing. Jiang Fan was speechless and muttered, "It seems she's not that hard to deal with. If you reason with her, she might not side with Lu Xing." Yuan Jiu frowned and said, "How is that possible? You've only met Liangxing once. Lu Xing is her pride and joy. You injured him, how could she let you go? To avoid trouble, you should come with me to see the sect master. She'll be very happy to know you're here." She knew very well how much regret Jiang Fan had left in Gong Kei's heart. Knowing he came to the spirit beast sect would surely surprise her. Jiang Fan didn't mind meeting Gong Kei, but now wasn't the right time. "I'm still waiting for the local deacon to bring the task reward." Yuan Jiu was puzzled. Task reward? She was a bit confused. The spirit beast sect rarely had tasks for outsiders, right? Even if there were, they were extremely difficult, not something a junior disciple like Jiang Fan could complete. "What task did you complete?" Jiang Fan said, "The Black Lotus bounty order." Yuan Jiu blinked and said, "Junior brother Jiang, since when do you make jokes?" The Black Lotus bounty order had been around for years, right? During that time, even core formation martial artists tried to eliminate the Black Lotus bandits, but they moved like shadows. They couldn't even be found, let alone eliminated. What realm was Jiang Fan at? How could he complete this task? This had to be a joke, right? However, soon a scene that left Yuan Jiu dumbfounded unfolded. The task hall deacon came running back out of breath. His face was filled with excitement. "Junior brother Jiang, Sect Master Gong requests you to come to Sect Master Peak. She wants to meet you personally." Completing the Black Lotus bounty order had directly caught her attention. She was very curious about who completed this task. Thus, she wanted to meet the task completer personally. Jiang Fan thought for a moment and said, "All right." Just as Yuan Jiu had suggested, it was a good way to avoid conflict with Liangxing and her cousin. "Please lead the way." Jiang Fan followed the task hall deacon. After a while, he noticed Yuan Jiu hadn't followed. He turned around and was surprised. "Senior sister Yuan, what's wrong?" Yuan Jiu snapped out of it, looking at Jiang Fan in shock. You really completed the Black Lotus bounty order. How did you do it?" She couldn't figure out how Jiang Fan, being alone, completed such a difficult task. Jiang Fan laughed and said, "Sect Master Gong will ask the same question later. I'll answer both of you then." With that, Yuan Jiu, full of doubts, walked with him side by side, outside the hall. Liangxing looked at Xinghe, whose face was covered in blood, listening to his tearful complaints. She was instantly furious. "Outrageous! Who dares to ignore me, Liangxing? To bully you like this and still dare to stay in our spirit beast sect? Is this a challenge to me?" Chapter 242. Chapter 242, representing apology, Xinghe exaggeratedly said, "That's right. That guy was so arrogant. He even said, 'So what if your cousin comes? He's not even qualified to fight me. He's utterly lawless.'" He had searched the entire spirit beast sect in vain for Liangxing, at one point planning to give up. Because after all this time, Jiang Fan had long since vanished without a trace. But when he reached the mountain gate, he overheard from a few female disciples. Jiang Fan not only hadn't left, but had even gone to the spirit beast sect. This made Xinghe furious. Jiang Fan really didn't regard him at all, so he turned back to inquire everywhere. Finally, he learned that his cousin had just returned to the sect and was in the task hall submitting a mission. Listening to Xinghe's words, Liangxing thought it over. Who would say such offensive things for no reason? It was most likely Xinghe exaggerating, making it up to infuriate her. However, this person had injured her cousin and still dared to come to the spirit beast sect, knowing she would be here. He really didn't put her in his eyes. A lesson was inevitable. "What's his name and why did he come to the spirit beast sect?" Liangxing asked with a stern face. "I'll immediately order someone to drag him out." Quite a few people followed her. At her command, there would be plenty of people helping her search. Xinghe was overjoyed with his cousin's protection. Jiang Fan was in for a hard time. He immediately said, "I don't know what an outer sect disciple is doing at the spirit beast sect. Maybe he's specifically here to provoke you." At this moment, Jiang Fan and Yuan Jiu just walked out of the task hall. Xinghe caught sight of them out of the corner of his eye and, overjoyed, pointed at him. Cousin, it's him, it's him." Liangxing followed his finger, stunned. "Jiang Fan, he meant Jiang Fan." Liangxing, uncertain, asked, "You're saying the one who oppressed you is that guy with 2 swords on his back?" Xinghe said viciously. "Yes, it's him. He said you weren't even qualified to fight him." He was thrilled inside. Given his cousin's temper, she absolutely wouldn't let Jiang Fan off. As for Jiang Fan's little bit of skill, was it anything in front of his cousin? However, unexpectedly, after a moment of distraction, Liangxing calmly said, "He's not wrong, I really don't have the qualifications to fight him." Xinghe was stunned and said, "Cousin, it's not me who said that. It's Jiang Fan who said it." Liangxing gave him a deep look and said, "Follow me." She gracefully walked towards Jiang Fan. Although puzzled, Xinghe still thought Liangxing would avenge him. He followed with hopeful anticipation. Yuan Jiu noticed this scene, her face changing slightly, and said, "We've been cornered at the door. Junior brother Jiang, you leave first. She won't dare do anything in front of the sect master. I'll hold her off." Seeing Liangxing's somewhat unpleasant face, Yuan Jiu felt even more worried. She feared things wouldn't end nicely. Jiang Fan slightly frowned but didn't leave. Aside from whether or not Liangxing was here for him, even if she was, she should have some self-awareness, right? Her strength couldn't trouble him in the slightest. "Senior sister Yuan, let's just wait and see." Maybe senior sister you just wants to reason things out. Yuan Jiu rolled her eyes. Reason her? Don't be foolish, leave quickly or it'll be too late. This woman is fierce. If a fight breaks out, I can't protect you. She was at a loss for words. Jiang Fan had such remarkable talent, often making her feel like a failure in comparison. But when it came to dealing with people's malice, he seemed as naive as a child. Hitting someone's cousin was like slapping them in the face. How could she possibly reason with you? Jiang Fan still stood there, calmly saying, there's really no need. I can handle this, senior sister doesn't need to worry. Yuan Jiu got a bit angry. Why did it feel like she was meddling unnecessarily? She and Jiang Fan had no personal ties, so there was no need for her to help him. Had it not been for her appreciation of Jiang Fan's talent, she wouldn't have bothered to intervene. Fine, since junior brother Jiang has his own way of dealing with it, I won't meddle, she said with a stern face. She wanted to see how Jiang Fan would handle Liangxing's confrontation. Would he ask her for help later? While they were talking, Liangxing and Lu Xing had arrived in front of them. Facing Jiang Fan closely again, Lu Xing sneered, Jiang, I admire your courage, causing such trouble and still staying at the spirit beast sect. Do you even see my cousin Liangxing in your eyes? These words attracted the attention of passing disciples. Among them, 2 female elders were also drawn. One, dressed in the spirit beast sect elder's attire, was Elder Gu Nianchen, the great elder of the spirit beast sect. The other was Elder Ming Yulian, the great elder from the Heavenly Sound sect, visiting the spirit beast sect. Your sect's disciples seem to be in conflict. Shouldn't Elder Gu take a look? Ming Yulian said in surprise. Gu Nianchen frowned. Today was an important day for the Heavenly Sound sect's great elder to visit, which Peak's disciples were so tactless, quarreling at this time, letting Elder Ming see a joke. She immediately looked up, not expecting. It's an outer sect disciple. Seeing Jiang Fan's green cloud sect attire, Gu Nianchen was surprised. Then she saw the other disciple, more puzzled. Liangxing, how did this outer sect disciple offend that girl? Everyone knew Liangxing's temper. As a highly talented disciple of the spirit beast sect, her prideful personality didn't concede to anyone except the sect master and elders. If anyone offended her, she wouldn't let it slide easily. Gu Nianchen couldn't understand how a newcomer could have a conflict with Liangxing. Ming Yulian, however, was curious. That tall girl, is she your highly talented Liangxing? I heard she can simultaneously control 3 demon beasts, famed as a top prodigy in the spirit beast sect. Is she going to spar with that outer sect disciple? She couldn't help but stay to watch. Very interested in seeing if Liangxing would fight, and if she was as formidable as rumored. Intending to intervene, Gu Nianchen changed her mind. Letting Ming Yulian witness the prowess of their sect's prodigy would be a good thing. It might deter Ming Yulian from underestimating the spirit beast sect during their negotiations. Didn't expect Elder Ming to know about this disciple. Yes, she is indeed a prodigy, capable of controlling 3 demon beasts at once. This outer sect disciple is in for a tough time for crossing her. As she said this, Gu Nianchen's face froze and Ming Yulian was taken aback. Lu Xinghe and Yuan Jiu were both left stunned. Liangxing had stopped in front of Jiang Fan. The expected volcanic scolding didn't occur. Instead, she slightly bowed and sincerely said, Junior brother Jiang, on behalf of my cousin, I apologize to you. Please forgive his ignorance. Chapter 243. Chapter 243. The truth that Lu Xinghe cannot accept the surroundings were completely silent. Not a sound could be heard. The rustling sound of dry, yellow leaves falling to the ground was distinctly audible. All eyes were stunned, watching the scene before them. It was only half a moment later that everyone came back to their senses. Hiss. Senior sister Yi bowed to this outer sect disciple. Am I seeing things? Is this really the senior sister Yi I know? Her cousin was bullied, and she didn't help but instead bowed and apologized to the other party. Even those who understood Jiang Fan well, like Yuan Jiu, were stunned on the spot. The expected confrontation, reprimand, or even possible fight did not occur. On the contrary, it was a scene she couldn't possibly have imagined. That proud, cold, and rude woman actually bowed and admitted her fault to Jiang Fan. She wondered if Liangxing was really sick. She seemed like a completely different person. Lu Xing was even more stunned. His cousin didn't make trouble for Jiang Fan, but instead bowed and apologized on his behalf. Regaining his senses, he immediately became embarrassed and angry. Cousin, are you crazy? He bullied me and you didn't help me. Instead, you apologize on my behalf? Why should I apologize? Why? Yi Liangxing's face changed, and she scolded, "Shut up. Do not be disrespectful to junior brother Jiang," when she learned that the person who bullied Lu Xinghe was Jiang Fan. It was immediately clear to her. If Jiang Fan had been abusing his power, he wouldn't have allowed her to reconsider the fight after demonstrating a few cultivation techniques. By any measure, Jiang Fan didn't seem like someone who liked to stir up trouble. Moreover, with Jiang Fan's strength, if he really wanted to bully Lu Xinghe, would he suffer only minor injuries? Jiang Fan had clearly shown mercy, so she could almost piece together what had happened. Most likely, her arrogant, aggressive cousin had provoked Jiang Fan, thinking too highly of himself, which led to his retaliation. Unable to swallow this anger, he came to her to spin the story upside down. Thinking about this, she became increasingly disappointed with Lu Xinghe. She shouted, "Come here and apologize properly to junior brother Jiang." Lu Xinghe couldn't believe it. His hard-won backer not only didn't help him, she even forced him to apologize to Jiang Fan. How could he tolerate this? "Yi Liangxing, did you take the wrong medicine? You want me to apologize to him? Who is he? Does he deserve it? If you want to bow down and scrape, go ahead. Don't think I'm a spineless wimp like you." Lu Xinghe yelled regardless of the occasion, attracting the female disciples to point and whisper about Yi Liangxing. This embarrassed Yi Liangxing greatly. Jiang Fan didn't want them to fall out because of him, so he said, "Senior sister Yi, forget it. Since we were teammates on a mission together, I won't hold a grudge for what happened in the past. Just let him be." What? Yi Liangxing was taken aback. Her cousin had once been a teammate with Jiang Fan. Such a good opportunity to make connections, and her cousin not only missed it but had a conflict. She became even angrier, glaring viciously at Lu Xinghe. "You are a worthless piece of trash. Do you know what you missed?" Lu Xinghe laughed angrily. "Yi Liangxing, you are the worthless piece of trash. What is Jiang Fan? Why are you flattering him so much? Huh." He couldn't understand it. What was so special about Jiang Fan? Why did every woman who met him have a changed attitude? Forget about his junior sister, Xinghe. Forget about Song Biyao at the mountain gate. Even his cousin had changed like this. He couldn't comprehend it. Jiang Fan was a waste. Why did he attract so many outstanding women? These should clearly belong to Lu Xinghe. The task hall deacon, waiting to take Jiang Fan to report to the Sect master, urged, "Junior brother Jiang, the Sect master is waiting for you. Let's go." Jiang Fan also wanted to get the Earth Phoenix grass marrow as soon as possible, nodded, and followed along. Lu Xinghe, still feeling indignant, wouldn't let Jiang Fan go. "Stop right there. Did I say you could leave? Settle our scores before you go." He stepped forward to block their way. The task hall deacon got angry and shouted, "Bold. Do you dare block someone summoned by our Sect master?" Lu Xinghe was dismissive. What important business could Sect Master Gong have with such a minor character? It's probably about the task of escorting spiritual medicine, right? If anyone should be seen, it should be me. I am the legitimate team leader. The task hall deacon became furious and slapped Lu Xinghe across the face, leaving a red handprint. "Get lost, you unreasonable thing!" Lu Xinghe, slapped in the face, became even more defiant, gritting his teeth and shouted, "Fine, fine. Is the Spirit Beast sect showing favoritism towards the disciples of the two sects? I'll report this to our Myriad Sword Sect Master. Let him know how the Spirit Beast sect discriminates between the Green Cloud sect and Myriad Sword sect." HMPH? The task hall deacon was beside herself with anger. They even brought up intersect relations. Seeing this, she didn't hold back anymore, disdainfully saying, "Junior brother Jiang eradicated the Black Lotus bandits, which is why the Sect Master summoned him. You just completed a third-tier task, and you think you deserve to see the Sect Master? Get out of my sight." "What? Eradicated the Black Lotus bandits? Jang Fan?" Lu Xinghe felt as if he had heard the biggest joke, laughing wildly. "Are you all idiots? To believe he could wipe out the Black Lotus bandits." "Ha ha ha," however, as he laughed. He noticed his cousin silently watching him. In the distance, Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng were also quietly watching him. Even the task hall deacon looked at him disdainfully, as if watching a wild monkey throwing a tantrum. Lu Xinghe gradually stopped laughing, feeling uneasy. Yi Liangxing rubbed her temples and waved her hand tiredly. "Let's go quickly. Don't ever say I'm your cousin again. I can't afford to lose face like this." Xinghe couldn't help but reveal the truth. "Senior brother Lu, how long will you remain stubborn? Have you not thought about why we could safely leave the Black Lotus bandits' encirclement? And why, when Black Lotus pursued us, he instead lost his head?" Lu Xinghe stammered. Wasn't there a master protecting us in secret?" Xinghe rolled her eyes. "Why would someone capable of killing Black Lotus protect a few low-tier martial artists like us?" Is it because of your high status, your strong background, or was our task too high level? This, Lu Xing gradually began to understand. Indeed, they were insignificant. Could they be worth such powerful protection? If it wasn't a master, then who could it be? He slowly looked at Jiang Fan, cold sweat quickly forming on his forehead. Xinghe gave the final answer. Chapter 244. Chapter 244. Give me a shoulder massage, that's right. Far away in the sky, yet right in front of your eyes. Xinghe said, the master you speak of is junior brother Jiang. After saying this, she looked at Jiang Fan with a hint of admiration and said, after you escaped, it was junior brother Jiang who struck down those 8 bandits. When the Black Lotus caught up with us, he also single-handedly defeated them. This is why junior sister Chu and I acknowledged junior brother Jiang as our captain. Now, do you understand? Rumble, this answer for Lu Xing, who had always thought highly of himself, was like a bolt from the blue. The master he had always been grateful for turned out to be the green cloud sect's waste he once looked down upon. Lineage also sighed faintly and said, now you understand why I was so disappointed in you, right? Lu Xing was immediately filled with remorse. A master capable of slaying the Black Lotus, would they not be at the top of any sect? A mid-level disciple like him did not even have the qualification to speak to such a person, let alone make friends. Yet there was one right in front of him with whom he had spent many days. He did not make any effort to make friends, but instead offended him. However, he was a proud person. Even though he felt remorseful in his heart, he was unwilling to admit it outwardly. Who wants to be friends with him? I don't see Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng currying favor with him and getting any benefits. HMPH? This was his last bit of stubbornness. What benefits did the 2 girls get from following Jiang Fan? It seemed like none at all. The task hall deacon looked down on people like Lu Xing. He despised those weaker than himself and envied those stronger than himself. Unable to resist, he said, you must have forgotten that with junior brother Jiang's abilities, he is qualified to take on first and second level tasks in our spirit beast sect. He will form a new team and choose new teammates. I am not sure if he will still want junior sister Qin and junior sister Chu, but he definitely won't choose you as a teammate. Let's go. After saying this, he led Jiang Fan away. Xinghe and Chu Xingmeng's eyes brightened. The Heavenly Mechanism Pavilion assigned a considerable number of first and second level tasks to each sect. But each sect had a limited number of elite disciples, inevitably leaving some high-level tasks uncompleted. At that time, they were delighted to have outer sect disciples come and take on the tasks, helping to alleviate the task pressure for their sect. With Jiang Fan being so powerful, how could the Spirit Beast sect miss out on him? They would surely arrange higher-level, more rewarding tasks for him. Thinking of this, they hurried to catch up. Yuan Jiu glanced at Lu Xing's stiff face and sneered, Senior Sister Yi, your cousin is quite interesting. Lineage for once did not argue with her and said, I don't have such a cousin. After speaking, she also followed them to the Sect Master Peak. She wanted to see what the Sect Master would say when he summoned Jiang Fan. Although Jiang Fan completing the Black Lotus bounty order was indeed impressive among disciples, the Sect Master had such a high standard. It was likely he would just be somewhat curious about Jiang Fan and at most say some words of praise. After the crowd dissipated, the expressions of the 2 female elders were quite different. Ming Yulian had a peculiar look on her face. Elder Gu, if I remember correctly, that disciple of the Green Cloud sect named Jiang Fan is the recently famous disciple without a spirit root. Right, I heard he was fortunately accepted as a disciple by the sect master, but has not achieved much so far. Why do your sect's proud daughters act so humbly towards him? Gu Nianchen's old face was somewhat embarrassed. They were far away and hadn't heard their conversation. But Lineage bowing and scolding her cousin made her blush. The elite of the Spirit Beast sect showed such reverence to the waste of the Green Cloud sect. This, if it got out, what would happen? She stammered, there must be some reason for it. Let's not talk about this anymore. Elder Ming, have you had enough of wandering around? Let's return to Sect Master Peak. I believe your disciples have understood almost everything by now. Ming Yulian secretly laughed. Just a casual stroll, and she witnessed the Spirit Beast sect's embarrassment. The dignified, proud daughters of the Spirit Beast sect bowing humbly to a waste from the Green Cloud sect. Who would believe it if it spread around? Sect Master Peak. A group of people arrived in front of the Great Hall. The deacon of the task hall kindly said, Junior Brother Jiang, please follow me. The rest of you wait outside the hall for now. Liangxing and others naturally did not dare to casually storm into the Sect Master Hall. They could only stand on tiptoes, peeking to see the situation inside the hall. At this moment, inside the brightly lit hall, Gong Kei, dressed in a colorful skirt, was gracefully bending over a desk. She was deeply engrossed in studying a bamboo slip. The words on it were blurry, indicating its age. She held her cheek with her left hand, and her right hand, delicate like jade scallions, grasped the bamboo slip. Her exquisite face, moisturized with beauty cream, looked even more radiant, like a young maiden in her early 20s. But the fullness of her chest outlined a mature charm. This serene reading posture created a sense of detachment from the martial path realm. It was as if the woman before him was not the famed sect master of the martial path realm, but rather a gentle, well-read lady raised in a secluded chamber. Noticing someone approaching, she continued to read her book and said, without lifting her head, "Pour a cup of tea." Jiang Fan was slightly taken aback, and then understood that she had mistaken him for a servant girl. He walked to the tea table, poured a cup of tea, and placed it in front of her. "Massage my shoulders." She still did not lift her head from the bamboo slip. Jiang Fan found this amusing. He quietly moved behind her and placed his hands on her cool, smooth shoulders. Her shoulders were thin, like a piece of paper. Jiang Fan's hand could not even cover half of it. He gently squeezed twice, making Gong Kei emit a series of comfortable moans. "This time you have the strength, eaten your fill. You never had so much strength before." Jiang Fan smiled and did not respond, continuing to massage her. His method was from the Undying Medical Book, a technique used to unblock a patient's meridians. For ordinary people, it would be painful when squeezed. But for martial artists in the core formation realm with strong physiques, it was just right. Because it was so comfortable, Gong Kei even put down the bamboo slip and closed her eyes to enjoy it quietly. Her mouth was filled with praises. "Yingtao, not bad. Finally learning some skills to please me. Whoever taught you must be from the medical path, right? This technique must be for smoothing meridians." Jiang Fan chuckled. She indeed had a keen eye. He then quickened the pace, his fingers danced on her shoulders, making Gong Kei feel even more comfortable. And making her even more puzzled, "Isn't this technique a bit too professional?" "Yingtao, who taught you?" Standing silently by the distant stone pillar, Yingtao, waiting for orders, finally dared to speak. Seeing she was asked, she spoke out, "Sect Master, I am here." Noticing the voice coming from the front, Gong Kei abruptly opened her eyes. Her servant girl, Yingtao, stood innocently far away. If it wasn't her, then who was massaging her shoulders? She suddenly looked back and saw the man's clothing. She immediately stood up in anger and scolded, "Impudent, daring to touch me without." Yet, upon seeing the man's face, she fell into a daze. Jang Fan. Chapter 245. Chapter 245. The heartless Gong Kei. She thought about Jiang Fan for a whole month. The disciples seated there had grown tired of her mentions. Several times she considered inviting Jiang Fan to the Spirit Beast sect, but had to put it aside due to the impending beast tide and the lack of time. Suddenly, she saw Jiang Fan appear before her. How could she not be dazed? Jiang Fan took 2 steps back, cupped his hands, and smiled, saying, "The sect master asked me to massage. It is not an offense from a junior." Gong Kei finally understood. Earlier, she was too focused and treated Jiang Fan, who came close, as if he were Yingtao to order around, making him both serve tea and massage her shoulders. She couldn't help but laugh and cry. "Why didn't you say anything?" Jiang Fan said. "The sect master was too focused. I didn't want to disturb." Gong Kei looked at the much-changed Jiang Fan and felt a sense of passing years. Clearly, they had only been apart for a month, yet it felt like a long, long time had passed. Suppressing her emotions, she showed a long-lost smile and warmly said, "Sit down." She pointed to her own wide, long chair. This long chair was carved from top-quality spirit wood, suitable for both sitting and lying down for rest. Jiang Fan waved his hand. "Junior dare not." This was the sect master's chair. He, an outer sect disciple, how could he sit casually? Gong Kei had extraordinary fondness for Jiang Fan and didn't adhere to too many formalities with him. Pressing his shoulders down to make him sit, she said, "Here with me, no need for complex formalities." However, the people outside the hall stared wide-eyed. The sect master actually let Jiang Fan sit on the exclusive throne of the sect master. Liangxing trembled and said, "Junior sister Yuan, have you ever sat on that chair?" Yuan Jiu shook her head straight. "Are you kidding? That is the sect master's seat. Would you dare sit if it were given to you?" Watching Jiang Fan sitting shoulder to shoulder with Gong Kei on the sect master's throne, Yuan Jiu clicked her tongue. Isn't the master indulging junior brother Jiang too much? Inside the hall, Jiang Fan only felt as if there were thorns under his backside, no way to sit comfortably. Moreover, Gong Kei was overly passionate, commanding people to serve tea while holding her snowy cheeks and staring intently at him, making him even more uneasy. He coughed dryly. Sect master, do you have other orders? Orders. Gong Kei paused, only then realizing she had forgotten to ask why Jiang Fan came. Right, how come you are here to find me? I thought you didn't dare to come to the Spirit Beast sect. Back then, Jiang Fan had repeatedly refused the offer to come to the Spirit Beast sect as the young sect leader. In the end, she didn't invite, yet Jiang Fan came on his own. Jiang Fan countered, Wasn't it the sect master who summoned me? I summoned you. This bewildered Gong Kei momentarily, and then she exclaimed in surprise. Could it be the one who completed the Black Lotus bounty order was you? She only heard from the task hall deacon that the person's surname was Jiang. She wondered which sect had such an impressive disciple with the surname Jiang. Unable to get an answer, she wanted to summon the person to see in person. Who would have thought this person was Jiang Fan? It was indeed this junior, Jiang Fan said with a wry smile. Ah. Gong Kei looked up and down at Jiang Fan incredulously. No, you gained the strength to slay Black Lotus in just 1 month. She remembered when Jiang Fan barely had the strength to defeat Cao Zhen, equivalent to Foundation Establishment 6th layer. It wasn't long, yet he could kill someone at Foundation Establishment 9th layer like Black Lotus. No, she got insider news that Black Lotus had already broken through to the core formation realm. At this, Gong Kei couldn't help but stand up, gazing at Jiang Fan with burning eyes. Previously, Jiang Fan had extraordinary talents in many aspects, except he was thought to have no spirit root and deemed to have no future in the martial path. But now it seemed, how could Jiang Fan be without spirit root? He definitely had a top-level extraordinary spirit root. Thinking of this, her breathing quickened. Jiang Fan felt even more uneasy under her intense gaze, saying, Sect Master, I've come to exchange for Earth Phoenix grass marrow. When can it be exchanged? At this moment, he just wanted to leave the Spirit Beast sect as soon as possible. Gong Kei came back to her senses, suppressing the overwhelming emotions inside, and calmly sat back down, saying, You came all this way, why rush? She said in a relaxed tone. Meanwhile, she pondered how to keep Jiang Fan here. A prodigy with simultaneous talents in sword path, comprehension, medicine refining, body refinement, and the most crucial martial path talent. If he didn't belong to the Spirit Beast sect, it would be worse than killing her. But she couldn't think of a good way for the moment. Seeing the atmosphere gradually becoming awkward, she pointed to the bamboo scroll on the table, saying, Read the book. With your high comprehension, perhaps you can gain some insights into the Spirit Beast sect's beast-taming technique as well. Jiang Fan also felt a bit awkward, so he diverted his attention to the bamboo scroll. Opening the title page, he was surprised to find that it was an Earth-level technique named Spirit Control Technique. He quickly closed it, saying, This is your sect's secret technique, I cannot read it. Are you kidding? Among the 9 sect, there were hardly any sects with Earth-level techniques. If they had one, it would definitely be their sect's core secret among core secrets. How could an outsider like him read it? But Gong Kei smiled warmly, reopening it, saying, Feel free to read. This book has gone through several generations of sect masters and has been lost to our sect. I have not comprehended it either. If you can help our sect comprehend it, there will be a great reward. Jiang Fan said with a wry smile, I don't want a reward. As long as the sect master can exchange the Earth Phoenix grass marrow as promised, that will be fine. Without hesitation, Gong Kei nodded her snow-white chin. No problem. With this, Jiang Fan attentively started reading Spirit Control Technique. Little did he know, a cunning gleam flashed in Gong Kei's gentle eyes. Yuan Jiu outside the hall was stunned, holding her red lips, her eyes full of disbelief. Junior sister Yuan, what happened? Seeing her so surprised, Xianxia asked in astonishment. Yuan Jiu secretly pointed to the bamboo scroll, saying, That is the secret volume only for sect masters to read. Usually, we disciples are not allowed to even take a glance. But the master handed it to Jiang Fan to read. She recalled Gong Kei jokingly saying she wanted to invite Jiang Fan to be the young sect leader. She mumbled, unsure whether to be happy or worried. Junior brother Jiang might not be leaving the Spirit Beast sect. Xianxia's beautiful eyes widened in shock, gasping. You mean Jiang Fan will be appointed as the young sect leader of the Spirit Beast sect? Completely unaware, Jiang Fan was meticulously reading the bamboo scroll, explaining his insights to Gong Kei. At first, Gong Kei occasionally stole glances at Jiang Fan and the bamboo scroll, quite inattentive. But gradually, as Jiang Fan's explanations went deeper, Gong Kei became more engrossed. Many of her previously unanswered questions became clear under his explanation. 2 hours later, the sun set. The light of dusk shone on their focused faces. Jiang Fan closed the last page, slouched his shoulders, and let out a long sigh. That's it, these are my interpretations. If the sect master has any questions, you can ask me. Gong Kei still immersed herself in the understanding, her mind filled with Jiang Fan's insights. As the leader of a sect, her comprehension wouldn't be inferior. After a while, she digested all his explanations. She tried practicing according to these insights. With a seal technique struck, a complex Sanskrit symbol danced in her palm. This made Gong Kei so excited she stumbled over her words. It is Sanskrit, beast-taming Sanskrit. I've succeeded. The top Earth-level technique, spirit control technique, of the Spirit Beast sect. After 200 years, I succeeded in cultivating it. Her excitement was beyond words. She embraced Jiang Fan emotionally, her voice carrying a slight sob. Thank you, thank you. I've fulfilled the wishes of several generations of sect masters and honored my master's dying instructions. I didn't let them down, sob. Jiang Fan was stunned. Feeling himself being tightly hugged by soft warmth, his mind went blank, especially his arms pressured by her ample bosom. He couldn't help but feel his heart race. The people outside the hall were also wide-eyed, unable to believe what they were seeing, especially Yuan Jiu, staring unblinkingly at the scene. Is that really my master? Chapter 246. Chapter 246. Don't think about leaving. What did she see? In her heart, her pure and virtuous master was actually in broad daylight hugging a man. And she was the one who initiated the hug. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't believe it, not in a million years, that her master could do such a thing. Xinghe was dumbfounded and said, Senior sister Yuan, your master, with junior brother Jiang. Chu Xingmeng covered her eyes, her pretty face blushing slightly as she peeked through her fingers. How did they suddenly end up hugging while talking? Liangxing couldn't help but cover her mouth to stifle a gasp. Her eyes widened as much as they could. What impossible scene had they just witnessed? Inside the hall, Jiang Fan felt like he was being suffocated by the hug, and he reminded, Sect Master, calm down. Gong Kei was stunned for a moment before realizing what she was doing. She quickly let go in a panic, her heart in chaos. Gong Kei, what are you doing? Are you crazy? What if someone misunderstands? She rubbed her forehead, trying to hide her embarrassment, and said, I lost my composure just now, forgetting that you are a male disciple. Forget about this incident, and don't tell anyone else. The Spirit Beast sect only had female disciples, and they hardly saw any men throughout the year. So even as the sect leader, she relaxed her guard regarding gender differences. Unexpectedly, her excitement just now caused such an embarrassing situation. The faint remnants of fragrance filled Jiang Fan's nostrils, and the tingling sensation on his arm slowly faded away. All of this made Jiang Fan, who had never experienced such things, feel indescribably strange. He nodded and changed the topic. Congratulations to Sect Master Gong for comprehending the sect's ultimate technique. Gong Kei regained her composure, her bright eyes flashing with a trace of cunning. And congratulations to you for learning it too. Her own comprehension had entirely stemmed from Jiang Fan. If she could achieve success in cultivation, Jiang Fan would find it even easier. Jiang Fan said earnestly, The sect master can rest assured. I will not cultivate your sect's ultimate technique, nor will I pass it to a third person. He possessed 3 Earth-level techniques himself. He had no greed for the secret techniques of the Spirit Beast sect. Gong Kei smiled slightly. She picked up a delicate jade pot and poured some tea for Jiang Fan. Unhurriedly, she said, The spirit control technique was created by the founding ancestor of our Spirit Beast sect. If cultivated deeply, it can control demon beasts 3 realms higher than oneself, making them one's combat spirit pets. She pushed the poured tea toward Jiang Fan as she spoke. There was a playful glimmer in her eyes. Because it is so astonishing, it has been designated as the Spirit Beast sect's forbidden secret technique. Only one type of person can cultivate it. Can you guess what kind of person? When Jiang Fan heard this, he couldn't sit still. Even with his toes, he could guess that such a technique could only be practiced by the sect leader, or by the person who was about to succeed as the sect leader. "Sect Master, when can I have the Earth Phoenix grass marrow? I need to return to my sect to report." He hastily interrupted Gong Kei. Gong Kei's eyes curved like two crescent moons as she smiled. "Which sect are you returning to?" "The Spirit Beast sect is your sect now. The Earth Phoenix grass marrow is all yours. In the future, the female disciples of this sect will all be yours too." Jiang Fan shuddered. He feared exactly what was happening. He quickly said, "Sect Master, please don't joke around. The Spirit Beast sect has always only accepted female disciples. As a man, joining your sect is against the rules." Gong Kei leaned in a little, her delicate fragrance wafting over. Her enticing red lips gently pursed. "Rules are made by people, and naturally they can be changed by people. This sect can make an exception for you, accepting you as a disciple and appointing you as the young sect leader. When 100 years have passed, you will be the next Spirit Beast sect master." Jiang Fan's heart was a little chaotic. Such an enticing offer, how could he not be tempted? Moreover, Gong Kei was the most sincere and gentle among all the elders he had met. He believed she was not making empty promises. However, whether it was the void ancient tree within him, his father's lifelong depression, or the whereabouts of his birth mother, about whom he had no memory, all of these made it impossible for Jiang Fan to be content with the status quo. Pressing forward relentlessly was his only path. Understanding this, his gaze became resolute and he stood up. "I deeply appreciate the sect master's favor, but my ambition lies far away. Please, sect master, choose another exceptional successor. Farewell." He gave up on the Earth Phoenix grass marrow. If he stayed any longer, he feared he would truly be trapped in the Spirit Beast sect, never able to leave. Watching Jiang Fan's resolute departure, Gong Kei's face grew somewhat embarrassed. When had she ever been so sincere and passionate toward anyone? Not even with the younger generation. Even with the older generation of higher status, she had never been so almost ingratiating. But Jiang Fan was refusing her kindness. She slapped the table, about to scold him. When a young figure rushed in from outside the hall, with a cheerful smile, he said, "Sect Master Gong, Sect Master Gong, I have comprehended." As soon as he entered, he was startled and withdrew his words by the sound of Gong Kei angrily slapping the table. Looking up, he saw Jiang Fan walking away without saying a word. He also noticed Gong Kei looking grim, her eyes flickering with embers of anger. "Sect Master Gong, what is going on?" The young man was tall and handsome, standing out in a crowd just like Jiang Fan. The difference was, compared to Jiang Fan's calmness, he was more astute and worldly. At this moment, his eyes darted around as he cautiously inquired. Gong Kei reigned in her displeasure, her emotions unreadable, and said flatly, "Fu Keohun, what is it?" Fu Keohun was puzzled. How could an outer sect male disciple make the esteemed sect master this angry? Gong Kei's temperament was very gentle. He had never heard of her getting angry before. He stepped forward, his face beaming with undisguised pride. "Reporting to Sect Master Gong, this junior has successfully comprehended the first page of the spirit control technique." He was the chief disciple of the Heavenly Sound sect. Since joining the sect, he had been synonymous with extraordinary talent, surpassing the older generation within just 2 years, becoming the undisputed #1 disciple of the sect. His comprehension was praised as the best in the Heavenly Sound sect in 100 years. There was even a legendary record of comprehending one Earth-level fragmented move in just 1 month, becoming a legend in the Heavenly Sound sect. He thought his life would follow a steady path, until he accidentally met Gong Kei. Her unparalleled strength, peerless beauty among the 9 sect, and her elegant and gentle demeanor broke through his emotional defenses like a sword. Since then, he couldn't stop thinking about Gong Kei, but the difference in their statuses made it hopeless, until he heard that Gong Kei had been troubled by the sect's Earth-level technique for years. He volunteered, accompanied by the Great Elder, to help Gong Kei comprehend this technique. Gong Kei, upon learning of his excellent comprehension, entrusted him with the first page, allowing him to try. If successful, he could use the pretext of comprehending the technique to stay by Gong Kei's side. He believed that with time, his excellence would gradually win over Gong Kei's heart. Therefore, after spending 3 days successfully comprehending the first page, he couldn't wait to report to Gong Kei. In his mind, he had already imagined Gong Kei's joyful expression. However, after he finished reporting, Gong Kei remained silent. Looking up, he saw Gong Kei staring intently at Jiang Fan's distant figure, her eyes occasionally flashing with anger. She hadn't heard a word he said. Chapter 247. Chapter 247. Different treatments. Sect Master Gong. Sect Master Gong. Fu Keohun called out twice to remind her. Gong Kei finally snapped out of her daze, staring at Jiang Fan. She asked, "What did you just say?" Fu Keohun frowned. He felt somewhat overlooked. Why did Gong Kei care so much about that disciple? He suppressed his displeasure, returned to smiling, and said, "Reporting to Sect Master. Junior has successfully comprehended the first page of spirit control technique." He thought Gong Kei would be very pleased. But her reaction was so indifferent that it left Fu Keohun at a loss. Understood," Gong Kei replied perfunctorily. Watching Jiang Fan leave without looking back, she grew even angrier. How was she treating him unfairly? How could he be so heartless? Seeing Jiang Fan was about to leave the hall without a trace of hesitation, she panicked. She shouted, "Who permitted you to leave?" "Come back here." Jiang Fan, helpless, had to brace himself and return. Standing in front of the desk, he clasped his hands and said, "Sect Master Gong, what other instructions do you have?" Previously, he addressed her as Sect Master. Now he called her Sect Master Gong. This businesslike tone made Gong Kei even more uncomfortable. She decided to reprimand Jiang Fan. Pointing to Fu Keohun beside her, she said, "This is Fu Keohun, the chief disciple of the Heavenly Sound Sect. A prodigy of immense talent with exceptional comprehension. A peerless genius unseen in 100 years at the Heavenly Sound Sect." Listening to these top-tier titles, Jiang Fan looked at him with respect and clasped his hands, saying, "Jiang Fan of the Green Cloud Sect, greets senior brother Fu." Fu Keohun couldn't figure out Jiang Fan's approach and returned the greeting with a smile. "Fu Keohun of the Heavenly Sound Sect, a pleasure to meet you." Gong Kei explained. "Fu Keohun traveled a long way to my spirit beast sect to help me comprehend the spirit control technique. If he performs satisfactorily, I will agree to his request and keep him by my side." It seemed like a casual explanation for his presence here. In reality, it was telling Jiang Fan that others traveled great distances, begging to stay by her side. She still needed to test him before considering it. "While you, Jiang Fan, were offered the title of young sect leader, yet you kept refusing." Jiang Fan understood the underlying message. He felt exasperated yet amused. Following her lead, he said, "Sect Master Gong is surrounded by talents. I am humbled by my inferiority. Such an opportunity, leaving it to senior brother Fu, would indeed meet everyone's expectations. I sincerely offer my congratulations." Bam, it was better left unsaid. These words infuriated Gong Kei. She slapped the desk, stood up immediately, her almond-shaped eyes wide open. "Jiang Fan, are you deliberately antagonizing me?" Clearly telling Jiang Fan that she wasn't so kind to just anyone. He should cherish it properly, yet here he was, provoking her like this. It made her so angry her chest ached. "I wouldn't dare, those were my heartfelt words." Jiang Fan stepped back a few paces to maintain a safe distance, to prevent Gong Kei from suddenly attacking. Fu Keohun was bewildered. What opportunity, what meeting everyone's expectations? What made Gong Kei this angry? He gently showed concern. "Sect Master Gong, junior brother Jiang's words were offensive. His mistake, don't harm your health over it." But this concern only fueled Gong Kei's grievances as she poured out her complaints to him. "Is it just words? Do you know how outrageous he is? I did not hesitate to change the rules of the Spirit Beast sect, taking him as a disciple and even establishing him as the young sect leader. And him. He did not show the slightest gratitude. Absolutely preposterous." Initially, Fu Keohun listened with a smile on his lips. Gradually, his smile faded. He had traveled thousands of miles, taking the initiative to relieve Gong Kei's troubles just to earn her favor and stay by her side. And Jiang Fan? Gong Kei had unprecedentedly changed the iron rules of the Spirit Beast sect of several centuries for him, offering him the position of young sect leader. This vast difference in treatment made Fu Keohun's blood boil. His chest felt congested. Seeing Jiang Fan, he couldn't hold back his jealousy. Why, he with such immense talent fell short of something. He couldn't help but ask, "Junior brother Jiang, may I ask if you are a top-ranked expert?" It was apparent he had always been immersed in the martial path, seemingly unaware of external matters. So much so he hadn't even heard of the name of the rootless Jiang Fan. "No," Jang Fan said truthfully. Fu Keohun continued, "Then you must be the chief disciple of the Green Cloud Sect." "I am not." Fu Keohun frowned. "Then have you created numerous legendary feats? If not, why would Gong Kei favor him so much?" Jiang Fan spoke honestly. "I am merely a new disciple under the Green Cloud Sect Master's tutelage, an obscure nobody." Not as renowned as senior brother Fu, a new disciple, obscure nobody. Fu Keohun couldn't remain composed and further questioned. Then why does Sect Master Gong want to establish you as the young sect leader of the Spirit Beast Sect? Jiang Fan shrugged. How should I know? However, I have already declined. If senior brother Fu is interested, you can apply to Sect Master Gong. Upon hearing this, Gong Kei grew furious. Did he think the young sect leader of the Spirit Beast Sect was a role anyone could take? What did he consider the Spirit Beast Sect? Jiang Fan, you have already made this sect very angry. I am giving you one final chance. Will you take this position as young sect leader or not? Jiang Fan was speechless. How could anyone be forced into becoming the young sect leader? He tried to defer. Sect Master Gong, I am a disciple of the Green Cloud Sect. Changing sects at the very least requires my sect's consent, doesn't it? Unexpectedly, Gong Kei waved her jade hand and said, Rest assured, I will compensate the Green Cloud Sect. At any cost, I will switch you over. Jiang Fan started to break into a sweat. Liu Wuchen never valued him, and there was an elder inside who disliked him. If the Spirit Beast Sect really offered substantial resources for an exchange, the Green Cloud Sect might really sell him off. I also have 2 fiancés who are. Before he could finish, Gong Kei said, Then we'll bring them over too. She was determined to get him over. Jiang Fan began to worry and said, But my master has already declared me his son-in-law. He would never agree. What? Gong Kei was stunned. You and Liu Qingxian. Then she couldn't help but laugh angrily. Well, in just a month's absence, you managed to woo the sect master's daughter, that beauty as well. I really underestimated you, an outwardly honest guy. What kind of remark was that? Jiang Fan rolled his eyes. How was he not honest? However, this should finally silence Gong Kei, right? To his surprise, Gong Kei, in a fit of pique, snorted, So what if you're the son-in-law? You can be the son-in-law of the Green Cloud Sect. Why can't you be the same for my Spirit Beast Sect? Yuan Jiyu, come in. Hearing her name, Yuan Jiyu quickly jogged in. Her pretty face was covered with a cautious expression. Master, do you have any orders? Gong Kei grabbed Yuan Jiyu's hand and placed it into Jiang Fan's hand, saying, I will marry my disciple to you. Will that suffice? Jiyu may not be as beautiful as Liu Qingxian, but she's also a stunning beauty. Though she's not my daughter in my eyes, she's as good as one. What? Jiang Fan and Yuan Jiyu both pulled their hands back, startled. Jiang Fan felt it was time to clarify things thoroughly. Letting this go on would be uncontrollable. Chapter 248. Chapter 248 Release. He solemnly cupped his hands and said, Sect Master Gong, please calm your anger. I understand your goodwill. Don't laugh at me, but since I entered the Green Cloud Sect, the elder who has treated me the best is not my master, but rather you, Sect Master Gong. He drew the black sword from his back and caressed the blade, saying, I was an anonymous disciple, unnoticed by the sect. Thanks to your favor, Sect Master Gong, I was given the opportunity to show my potential. First, you gave me spiritual medicine, and then you gifted me a treasured sword. I will remember this kindness forever. These words evoked memories. Gong Kei thought back to all the moments she met Jiang Fan. The anger in her heart dissipated significantly. It turned out, this guy wasn't so heartless after all. At least he recognized her kindness toward him. But why couldn't he just agree to her request? Becoming the young sect leader of the Spirit Beast Sect would elevate him immensely. Why couldn't he appreciate her goodwill? Jiang Fan sighed deeply. To be honest, Sect Master, when I was young, my parents were torn apart. My father endured a lifetime of grievances, living in a remote small town, and died in depression. My mother's current fate is unknown. As their son, I must seek justice for my father and fulfill my filial duty to my mother. Before accomplishing these, how could I indulge in comforts? How could I live up to my deceased father's spirit or my mother's unknown status? Gong Kei and Yuan Jiyu were both moved. They only saw Jiang Fan's extraordinary talent and limitless prospects, but they didn't know his tragic background. He turned out to be an orphan. Only now did Gong Kei realize how unreasonable her demands were. She stepped forward gracefully, her eyes filled with apology. Seeing Jiang Fan's slightly disheveled collar, she reached out her jade-like fingers with affectionate eyes and tidied it. Poor child, it's really been hard for you. She thought of Jiang Fan being so lonely and helpless. In the Green Cloud Sect, no one cared for him, making him appear even more pitiable. Her aggressive behavior made her feel like she was bullying him, and she felt a small guilt emerge in her heart. Feeling remorseful, she said, I was unaware of your tragic backstory. I sincerely apologize. Seeing her ashamed look, Jiang Fan smiled generously. Sect Master, you need not blame yourself. I should be the one thanking you. The 9 Sect may be vast, but who else has cared for me like you, Sect Master? Besides you, there isn't a second person in this world. Even if Liu Wuchen temporarily acknowledged him and declared him as a son-in-law. But to make Jiang Fan the young sect leader, he would never agree. The elder who treated him the best was none other than Gong Keiyi. Gong Keiyi looked at this well-behaved young man, feeling infinite compassion, and adjusted his clothes tenderly, saying, "From now on, consider the Spirit Beast Sect as your home. If the Green Cloud Sect mistreats you, just tell me. I'll take you over and you won't suffer anymore." Jiang Fan's nose tingled. The last time someone protected him this way was when his father was still alive, but that was 3 years ago. "Thank you, Sect Master." Jiang Fan was genuinely grateful. Gong Keiyi patted his shoulder, saying, "Go do what you need to do." Suddenly, she remembered something. She quickly took out a bottle of Earth Phoenix grass marrow from her sleeve, which she had already prepared. "Nearly forgot." She stuffed it into Jiang Fan's arms and whispered, "Use it quickly, don't let anyone see." Jiang Fan nodded, "I understand." He carefully stored the Earth Phoenix grass marrow. He then prepared to leave. But Fu Keohun, who was standing nearby, rolled his eyes and interjected, "Sect Master Gong, since junior brother Jiang is unwilling to be the young sect leader, I am willing to give it a try." "Try." Gong Keiyi glanced at him and said expressionlessly, "The position of young sect leader is reserved for Jiang Fan. I will ask him for his opinion again after he fulfills his wish. Rather keep it empty than give it to him." Fu Keohun's face stiffened. He couldn't understand why he was inferior to Jiang Fan. Was it just because his background wasn't tragic enough? Ridiculous. But how could he dare to blame Gong Keiyi? He had to change the topic back to the spirit control technique, saying, "Then, Sect Master Gong, do you still need me to comprehend your sect's secret technique?" Gong Keiyi thought for a moment. She took out a bottle of Earth Phoenix grass juice from her sleeve and casually tossed it to him. "You've worked hard these past few days. Take this bottle of Earth Phoenix grass juice. Later, I'll have the Great Elder send you off." "What?" Fu Keohun trembled slightly, not daring to believe it. "Sect Master Gong, do you doubt my comprehension? I can explain my understanding right now, and you'll know immediately if I've got it right or not." Gong Keiyi said indifferently, "That won't be necessary." She was no fool. She knew exactly why Fu Keohun had insisted on staying by her side. From the way he looked at her, she was clear about his intentions. Not to mention Jiang Fan had already helped her comprehend the entire spirit control technique. Even if he hadn't, she would never keep a man with ulterior motives around her. "Why?" Fu Keohun, thinking he had hidden his thoughts well, couldn't accept it and asked, "Doesn't Sect Master Gong need this technique anymore? The beast tide is imminent. With this technique, you and your sect will have more security." Detecting the threat in his words, Gong Keiyi became even more displeased. Threatening already, what excessive demands would he make at crucial moments? Only then did she realize how precious it was that Jiang Fan silently helped her comprehend the entire spirit control technique. In comparison, Jiang Fan's character was outstanding. She couldn't help but look at Jiang Fan again. So handsome with so many high talents and excellent character. In a daze, she remembered a phrase, "A gentleman as beautiful as jade, unmatched in the world." It described someone like Jiang Fan, didn't it? "Sect Master Gong, are you listening to me?" Noticing Gong Keiyi staring at Jiang Fan in a daze, Fu Keohun felt a surge of anger. Gong Keiyi snapped back to reality and quickly averted her gaze. Calmly responding, "That is none of your concern. The Spirit Beast Sect will handle its matters on its own. You may leave now." Fu Keohun felt a tremendous sense of loss. He had been overjoyed, thinking that staying by Gong Keiyi's side over time, he would have a chance to become close to her. But instead, he was ruthlessly sent away. What he found even more unbearable was Gong Keiyi's cold treatment of him, while she was excessively warm toward another peer not nearly as good as him. He didn't dare vent his anger on Gong Keiyi, but venting it on an unknown disciple posed no problem. He turned and glared at Jiang Fan. "What did you say to Sect Master Gong?" Just 3 days ago, Gong Keiyi was very welcoming to him and pleased with his assistance in comprehending the spirit control technique. But her attitude suddenly did a complete reversal today. He could only blame Jiang Fan. The innocent Jiang Fan slightly furrowed his brows, his eyes cold. What did Fu Keohun's grievances have to do with him? Did he think Jiang Fan was easy to bully? Did he think he could use him as a punching bag to vent his emotions? He said coldly, "If you want trouble, I'm ready anytime." Chapter 249. Chapter 249, The Elders Fate People who harbor malicious intentions need not be treated with courtesy, because they won't change their attitude due to your magnanimity. On the contrary, they will only feel that you are easier to bully. Such a loud refutation drew the attention of people both inside and outside the hall. Fu Keohun couldn't help but feel guilty and scolded. I only asked a question, what is your attitude? It seems like I am trying to bully the weak, Jiang Fan responded unceremoniously. Matters between Sect Master Gong and me are not for you to question. Furthermore, you may be older than me. But as for bullying me, you're not quite there yet. Fu Keohun was already holding back a stomach full of anger. Now being reprimanded publicly by a new disciple and treated with such disdain made his face turn cold. When did I, Fu Keohun, ever get despised by someone of no class? Complete my achievements before challenging me. Jiang Fan found this amusing. Obviously, it was the other party who thought him an easy target and provoked him first. He just fought back a few hard words but ended up being the provocateur. Recalling Fu Keohun's various achievements. Amazing indeed. But Jiang Fan could do the same. I'm not interested in your achievements. If you want to cause trouble, I'm up for it. If not, then get out of the way. He waved his hand, indicating that he did not see him in any regard. Gong Kei showed an approving look. She had always worried that Jiang Fan was too gentle and easily bullied. It turned out that he was so strong when faced with rude treatment. Gentle when appropriate, like water, and strong when necessary, like thunder. Now she felt reassured. However, no matter what, Jiang Fan was still her beloved junior. Fu Keohun was a guest after all. As the host, she naturally couldn't sit back and watch the two of them fight. She stepped forward and said, "In my great hall, that is inappropriate, isn't it?" She gave both of them a stern look. Of course, her gaze on Jiang Fan was gentle. Her gaze on Fu Keohun was a warning. Fu Keohun finally realized that this was the Spirit Beast Sect, and more importantly, the Sect Master's territory, not a place where he could be impudent. Therefore, no matter how dissatisfied with Jiang Fan he was, he could only swallow his anger. In respect for the Sect Master, I will forgive his disrespect. Before he could finish his words, a cold voice came from outside the hall. Forgive what? The speaker was none other than Elder Ming Yulian of the Heavenly Sound Sect. She was so angry that her chest heaved and her face turned dark. Accompanied by Gu Nianchen, she leisurely returned to the Sect Master Peak. Finding something happening in the hall, she stopped to watch. Unexpectedly, she saw her precious disciple being disrespected by some unknown wild disciple. All right, she was an elder, a great elder at that, and had no face to intervene in matters between disciples. But Gong Kei's favoritism towards that wild disciple was intolerable. Her chief disciple had come to the Spirit Beast Sect to be humiliated, so she walked in angrily with a cane. Gu Nianchen tried to stop her but failed. Gong Kei frowned, showing displeasure. Did I permit you to enter? Get out! Without anger, she commanded respect. The fierce Ming Yulian immediately stopped and bowed. Sect Master Gong, I did not mean to offend you, but please grant me the opportunity to speak. Do not let my Heavenly Sound Sect disciple return humiliated. Gong Kei's frown deepened. This old woman was really good at spreading rumors. Who had bullied Fu Keohun? If this word got out, people who didn't know the truth might really think that the Spirit Beast Sect had slighted the Heavenly Sound Sect, causing disharmony between the two sects. Elder Ming, make yourself clear. When did your sect's disciple get humiliated? Gong Kei returned to her seat and questioned from above. Ming Yulian gave Jang Fan a fierce look and said angrily, Keohun just asked a question, but what was the attitude of that disciple named Jiang Fan? Keohun is our chief disciple. He represents the dignity of our sect. To treat him poorly is to disrespect the Heavenly Sound Sect. Earlier, she said Fu Keohun was humiliated. Now, when asked how he was humiliated, she shifted the topic, saying Jiang Fan had a bad attitude. This made Gong Kei despise her. She said expressionlessly, Elder Ming, overprotecting your disciples might not be a good thing. Disciples who lack setbacks tend to become emotional and irrational, ultimately harming them. Issues between disciples should be resolved by themselves. Forceful intervention will only backfire. In her view, this was just a quarrel between two disciples. An elder's involvement changed the nature of the matter. Ming Yulian felt even more disgruntled. She and Fu Keohun had come a long way to help Gong Kei. Not only did she not support them, but she also lectured her. So she kept a straight face and unreasonably said, The Sect Master is right. But one thing is another. Jiang Fan's disrespect to our chief disciple is something I will not let go. Gong Kei's phoenix eyes narrowed. She was getting too presumptuous. She was about to scold, but Jiang Fan stood out. He couldn't let his quarrel with Fu Keohun escalate to a confrontation between Gong Kei and Ming Yulian. It was best if he handled this matter himself. With his hands behind him, he spoke lightly. If we talk about disrespect, did you not hear that Fu Keohun called me insignificant? Jiang Fan was somewhat surprised. Ming Yulian raised her head arrogantly, not even looking at Jiang Fan, and said, "Our chief disciple's status is beyond yours. Who are you? When he criticized you, it was to educate you for your own good. You didn't know what was good for you and responded with harsh words, which was highly disrespectful. I can't stand you impudent juniors who defy your elders." Ha! Everyone inside and outside the hall was shocked by her words. Xianxia, known to be domineering in the sect, felt that after hearing the arrogance in the elder's words, she herself had been too lenient. Xinghe clenched her fists in anger. Does she have no shame? Her disciple insulting others is for their good. When others insult her disciple, it's highly disrespectful. Even the innocent Chu Xingmeng frowned in anger. She is being unreasonable, isn't she? This is still the Spirit Beast sect. If it were the Heavenly Sound sect, wouldn't she have acted directly? Everyone in the hall was also speechless. Yuan Jiu widened her eyes in disbelief. Even after their master had reminded her not to interfere, she still shamelessly said such words. Gong Kei's face turned cold. Her heart was filled with displeasure. Ming Yulian's speech not only showed extreme contempt for Jiang Fan, but also did not regard her, the sect master, seriously. Well, in Ming Yulian's eyes, the sect master of Spirit Beast sect still had to rely on Heavenly Sound sect's disciples to comprehend their sect's ultimate arts. No wonder she looked down on her. She was about to scold, but Jiang Fan interrupted her again. I understand Elder Ming's point. Fu Keohun is strong, so whatever he says is reasonable, right? Ming Yulian arrogantly raised her neck and snorted. That's about right. So what, you are not convinced? So what if not? The rules of the martial path realm had been like this for thousands of years. Survival of the fittest, the victor is king. Jiang Fan, with his hands behind his back, said lightly, according to Elder Ming's meaning. Then my words just now are not disrespectful, because I am stronger than Fu Keohun. Chapter 250. Chapter 250 double standard with these words spoken. The scene was eerily quiet, because whether it was Gong Kei or Yuan Jiu, as well as Xinghe outside the hall, they all knew Jiang Fan's true combat abilities. The Black Lotus perished at Jiang Fan's hands. This so-called prodigy of the Heavenly Sound sect, no matter how strong, could he be stronger than Black Lotus? However, Ming Yulian thought it was a joke. Ha ha ha, kid, does your Green Cloud sect also teach the art of boasting? If you were the chief disciple of the Green Cloud sect, I might give your words some credit. But who do you think you are? Do you even qualify to compare with our sect's chief disciple? Can you match even a tenth of his achievements? Fu Keohun's face grew stern. With someone backing him, he spoke more openly. I don't know how strong you really are, but in terms of insulting people, I, Fu Keohun, am far inferior. Jiang Fan stood with his hands clasped behind his back. His expression was serene, exuding an otherworldly calmness. His eyes were tranquil. If we don't try, how would you know if I'm insulting you? Fu Keohun's gaze sharpened. He said, very well. Arguing with you is meaningless. I will show you my prowess, perhaps then you'll know when to shut your mouth. Jiang Fan nodded and said, likewise. I hope you all shut your noisy mouths, especially Elder Ming. Ming Yulian sneered. He didn't even look directly at Jiang Fan, but said to Fu Keohun, since someone overestimates himself and challenges you, you may strike with all your might without any concerns. If anything happens, I will take responsibility. In other words, give Jiang Fan a harsh lesson. Show no mercy. Gong Kei squinted. Fighting on my sect's grounds, shouldn't you ask my sect for its opinion? She increasingly felt that Ming Yulian was disregarding her presence. Which sect's disciple would dare to fight in front of an elder from an outer sect, in the hall of an outer sect's sect master? Only the Heavenly Sound sect would dare to set such a precedent. Ming Yulian remained unhurried, seemingly respectful. Sect Master Gong, please do not be angry. We are merely exchanging moves. It will only take a moment. Nothing will be affected. Afterwards, Keohun will be more devoted to deciphering the mystic beast art for you. Hearing the last sentence, even a fool could understand. It was clear why Ming Yulian was so fearless. Gong Kei coldly smiled inside. Look at this master and disciple duo. They were just starting to understand it and already using the mystic beast art to hold her hostage. Fortunately, Jiang Fan came to help her fully comprehend it. Otherwise, wouldn't she be truly at their mercy? Without any change in expression, she took a sip of tea and said casually, To fight in my spirit beast sect, you must be mentally prepared. Fu Keohun, if you move your left foot, my sect will cut off your left foot. Move your right fist, my sect will chop off your right fist. Don't believe me. Try it, see if Elder Ming can protect you. Her plain words conveyed immense strength, making people truly believe Gong Kei would indeed do as she said. Ready to strike, Fu Keohun's body suddenly froze. He looked toward Ming Yulian with a troubled expression. The latter, with a sinister gaze, said, "Sect Master Gong." Gong Kei played with a bamboo slip in her hand, interrupting him calmly. "There's no need for your heavenly sound sect to worry about comprehending the mystic beast art." Ming Yulian, who was about to make a threat, looked puzzled. Did Gong Kei not want to comprehend the mystic beast art anymore? With the beast tide approaching, this earth-level technique could greatly help the spirit beast sect. "Sect Master Gong, you must be joking. I have no intention of threatening you." Still trying to manipulate her, Gong Kei sneered while looking at Ming Yulian and said calmly, "I have made myself clear. Master and disciple, either I will still treat you as guests and send you off, or fight here and see if I can do as I say." Ming Yulian hesitated. 3 days ago, Gong Kei was very welcoming of their arrival, indicating that Gong Kei really wanted to comprehend the mystic beast art. Why give up now? As she pondered over Gong Kei's calm yet firm tone, Ming Yulian couldn't figure it out. As she hesitated, Jiang Fan said leisurely, "I advise you to leave quickly, or else you'll be even more uncomfortable later." In a real challenge, if Fu Keohun lost, both he and Ming Yulian would go mad. Already extremely uncomfortable with Jiang Fan, Fu Keohun almost couldn't resist the urge to teach the mouthy guy a harsh lesson. Meeting Gong Kei's cold gaze, he held back in time. However, being forced to give up, he felt extremely unwilling. Suddenly, an idea struck him and he mocked. "Hiding behind a woman to act tough. We don't have to fight, I Fu Keohun surpass my peers in every aspect. To avoid displeasing Sect Master Gong, we can compare comprehension instead of fighting. Do you dare?" Ming Yulian nodded slowly. Comprehension is also a part of strength, and it was Fu Keohun's most proud area. With a slight display, Jiang Fan could be shown how ignorant he was. Also, Gong Kei might reconsider depending on Fu Keohun to comprehend the mystic beast art. So he looked at Gong Kei. "Sect Master, can we do this?" Gong Kei sighed slightly. She tried to stop the duel repeatedly, not to protect Jiang Fan, but to protect Fu Keohun. If something happened to him in the spirit beast sect, the spirit beast sect would be implicated. But they were still persistent, insisting on competing with Jiang Fan. Forget it, she didn't want to care anymore. Leaning back in her chair, she rubbed her temples and said, "Since you seek humiliation, then let's compare comprehension. However, I must remind you, if you can't handle the blow, don't seek death in my spirit beast sect." Others might not know, but she knew Jiang Fan's comprehension very well. Competing in comprehension with him was sheer folly. Ming Yulian looked at Gong Kei suspiciously. She thought, this sect Master Gong, could she be seriously ill? Fu Keohun's exceptional comprehension was famous among the 9 sect. Anyone comparing with him would only humiliate themselves. She reassured, "Keohun, Sect Master Gong is merely encouraging Jiang Fan, don't take it to heart." Initially, Fu Keohun felt the same. Self-humiliation, could it be said the other way round? Listening to Ming Yulian, he realized it might be a psychological tactic, intentionally disturbing his mindset, giving Jiang Fan a chance. It's a pity in the realm of comprehension he was unmatched. Even if he went easy, Jiang Fan couldn't catch up. He looked at Jiang Fan, half smiling. "Not daring to compare in martial arts, won't you even dare to challenge in comprehension?" Jiang Fan touched his nose. In terms of martial arts, he might not surpass Fu Keohun by much, but in terms of comprehension, he sighed slightly. "All right, you chose this yourself. How do we compare comprehension?" He hoped Fu Keohun wouldn't break down.